All right. Let's test to make sure this is working again. Let's see. Can I flash up an image? Yes, I can. Can I flash up? Yes. Okay. So that allows me to grab this. Yay. Alright. Little baby. My friend. Dinky boy. I love these things. These are just to start off my stream. Welcome. For I guess an introduction, I'm Simon, Pyrotrain thing. I don't know, this is my first stream, so I guess it's bound to be awkward, but whatever, I'm gonna yap. Anyway, I'm gonna cover the screen while I start up the server. So that no one can grab the IP, even if it is just one player. I don't want anyone to grab things. But, welcome. This is Railroads Online, for those who have never seen it. Even though you're looking at an A-frame Shay, as I call them. The Class A Shay. Even though you're looking at one of those. I think specifically that's A20? I think that's an A20, if I remember right. I grabbed it off of the Shay Locomotives website, the Shay Locomotive database, which has like pictures of like Shay locomotives that were photographed. So that's where I usually check out. But let me turn down my microphone. I have no idea or way to tell if the audio is good, by the way. Let me try doing a dry bong rip real quick. I'm just gonna, for YouTube, I have a bong, right? I have a water pipe. I'm gonna smoke out of it. Except there's nothing in it. So it's not really smoking, it's more like I'm just sucking air through it, I guess. Okay, yep, that was on mic. That was definitely on mic. I saw that. I saw that light up. Enough testing around, enough screwing around. Welcome to anyone viewing this. If you're a new, well, everyone's gonna be new here. I'm a nobody. Literally. But yeah, I'm just doing my thing. Let's maybe decrease the gain. Test. Okay. Alright, so this is... Oh, the image is still on screen. I forgot. There we go. I'll probably talk more if I get any questions in chat. But, yeah. Mostly I just want to play video games and watch YouTube videos, I guess. Speaking of watching YouTube videos, I have a YouTube video. It's this one that I watched, and I guess, someone's gonna look at this and go, oh, you can judge his politics! Because I'm gonna be watching this one. But, so be it. I don't fucking care. If you hate me for this stream, okay? There's nothing I can do to change you. Like, that's a you problem, not me. I know that, this is gonna come across to some people as, this guy must be very hateful. Very hateful, this guy. Like, and to those people I can say, alright, I probably never would have convinced them anyway, so it's better not just... It's just me, this is just me rambling, so get used to this. Get used to this. I like to ramble, I like to ramble, but it's this video from Mantis Wave that I've seen for a few days in my recommended. You can see a few others. You know, I watched this guy. I think this is Chicken Nugget. There's Lexify. Maybe we'll... No, I don't want to watch that. That's too early. I could watch Dankula. I don't know what personal rules I should go for when it comes to reacting to stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, like, some, like, rules, that's a joke, right? You're just a YouTuber, but it's just like, I'm not a YouTuber. This is my first fucking stream, buddy. Like, if anything, like, I'm like, retarded or something. I don't know. I am retarded. I actually have I guess this is my first stream, so I can say whatever I want and it can be factually true. But I have for those 0 people who for the few people who know me personally, like they'll tell you this, but I'll tell you right now. I have fucking Asperger's. I have Asperger syndrome. I was diagnosed at 5. I will repeat this claim several times in the future if it ever gets challenged, and I will always say the same thing. But I think it's fairly obvious that I am fucking autistic. You can, I think you can tell, you know? But anyway, I'm gonna get on with the reaction. I'm also a little stoned. I might get high later on, but I'm coming off of one high, so anyway. Fix that. I don't know how audio levels are gonna be, by the way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go into this. Monitor and output. Again, expect... Oh, wait, that's gonna play... Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, if it's loud, let's check. I'm gonna have this playing. Yeah, I would say that's loud.
Hey internets, so there's an interesting thing about mainstream gaming journalism, which is that if you were to jump into a time machine and go back anywhere between 2 to 4 decades, roughly between the 1980s and early 2000s, there's something there that you're going to find in most gaming magazines that is largely absent from mainstream gaming journalism you'll find online today, which is that these magazines almost exclusively talk about, well, video games. And not only that, but they're actually pretty darn interesting. Now fortunately, you don't actually have to jump into a time machine to do this, anybody can check it out for themselves. There's actually a website that lets you download a lot of old gaming magazines from these times and read them. What you'll find is that articles were largely written pretty fairly and were very interesting to read and kept politics and ideology largely out aside from the extremely rare obscure joke. The writing style was about video games for video gamers.
So let me just yeah, I'm not really paying attention to this right now because I'm more or less testing, but Let's try 85% on the Brave browser.
And one of the reasons for this is you could tell pretty easily that the articles were actually being written by people who were also gamers. And that's not all. Even the advertisements in these magazines are pretty darn interesting and give you a decent idea of what the feel of the game is going to be.
95.
And the reviews tend to focus largely on the gameplay and what you were getting for your money. The idea of a gaming review back
I was never
then focusing on whether or not...
Pause this. I was never alive during that time, so I couldn't know, but... The reason why I'm watching this is because, you know, I've listened to a lot of the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff, and, you know, I have my own personal opinions on it, but I thought I would record these live streams because, yeah, I sit around, I do nothing most of the day, so I thought, why not? And also my dog just, he was under my desk right now. I have a black lab, Nico. He's a black lab mix, not really a black lab. But, that doesn't matter. I love him. Oh, he's right near my next to me again. He just, sat down next to my, my swivel chair. He's good. I don't know if the mic is gonna pick him up or not, but he's a good dog. He might ask for attention. I don't know.
The game subscribes to the correct ideology, or has the
Nico
correct
is my
moral
good
opinions.
dog.
Trademark
Yeah,
was
he
almost
is.
completely
He's a
unheard
good boy.
of. In addition to this,
He's
gaming
my
journalism
puppy.
used to include a lot of useful cheat codes and tips in regards to games that were almost impossible to find otherwise. They also included various detailed walkthroughs that had visualizations that were, you know, actually useful and actually comprehensive, and again, written by people who clearly took the time to go through everything and find all the secrets. Anyways, the point is, you can tell by reading it that it's clearly made for gamers by gamers. I remember enjoying reading a lot of these back in the 90s. Everything and find all the secrets. Anyways, the point is, you can tell by reading it that it's clearly made for gamers by gamers.
That's... yeah. Okay, so I've never... like I said, I've never been alive, but I did not know that. That's cool. It's just really interesting, I guess. Like nowadays, I guess you see a lot of journalists complaining about things or comparing Elden Ring to their lives, or, oh, this game is too hard. Oh my god, this game has so much blood in it. Or something like that. Da, 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 da. Oh, some of these voices are gonna get so annoying for people, I bet. I've got a catalog. I'm not like Tom Kenny. I don't got that range. But
I remember enjoying reading a lot of these back in the 1990s, and I decided to reread a lot of them recently just to see if it was just the nostalgia talking or not. And as it turns out, it's not nostalgia. The writing back then was just overall better quality, and most importantly, stayed on topic. This is unfortunately in stark contrast to what we see today. Snap back to the present, and a lot of video game journalism looks like, well, whatever the heck this thing is supposed to be. No, seriously, what is this garbage? Did someone get confused on whether they wanted to make a publication about gaming, or about yoga instruction and positive affirmations, or whatever the current normie feel-good
so this is going to be a really long passing track,
Where are the tips
basically.
and
That's
tricks?
the idea
Where
I'm
are the
going
actual
for.
secrets
I know
that a
I'm not
gamer
really
might have trouble
speaking about
finding?
this.
Where's
but,
the, well, anything at all that a gamer might care about? Seriously, this is complete.
Let me turn back up my microphone again. Let's try minus 0.9 instead. Again, this is a test stream, so I'm not really gonna know how anything's going until afterwards, but that's usually how these things go, I guess, when you're starting out, but
Total garbage. Where did the good stuff go? And you might be able to forgive them just a little bit, because again, of course, today is the day of...
To be fair as well, I didn't announce this, that I was streaming. This is more just spur of the moment. I just kind of wanted to. And if I realistically wanted, you know, for this broadcast to ever, you know, be a thing successfully, I would probably, you know, do something about it. you know, I'd probably do something, I don't know. There's the top chat. Actually, wait, let's go live chat. I want to go with the live chat, not the top chat. Alright, there we go. Top chat window. There we go. There we go. I'm fixing things on my screen that you can't see. Go back to whatever the fuck this middle image is.
Of the internet. In modern times, of course, you can just Google it and find tips, tricks, and walkthroughs and whatnot on places like GameFAQs. Overall, it's actually a lot easier to find this stuff these days than in the past. But that doesn't excuse them for being terrible at the one thing that's left, which is largely just editorials. Which these days in modern gaming journalism, usually the topic will start out with gaming, but it will often quickly go off topic from there, often talking about things that no gamer should give the slightest crap about, or reviewing games based on whether or not they have the correct ideology rather than whether or not their game is actually good. Then further interjections are made by these...
Yeah, like, honestly, that's been my major problem with gaming nowadays, is just the big issue. Like, and you're gonna see it here, they're pulling up recent stuff with Black Myth Wukong, but, which I have not played, so I have, like, no skin in the game. All I have is just what I've heard from people, but or what everyone else has heard, I guess. But anyway, back to the video.
Random shaky allegations against certain studios for sexism, racism, bigotry, and whatever. Allegations which usually come with very little to no evidence, other than the fact that a journo is saying so, and therefore we're supposed to pretend that it's automatically true. The point here is, game journalists in the modern era could be forgiven over the fact that they only focus on editorials due to how the internet works, if those editorials were actually good. But they're not. It's complete and total garbage. And there have been a lot of scandals recently that people have been talking about in regards to this subject. Subjects like Gamergate 2 and the Sweet Baby incident, or various game journalist publications all consolidating into one publication.
What the? Okay, I did not read. I did not read that. I thought it was game companies, not journalist outlets. What the? Oh. Oh. I don't really got anything else to say. Yeah, maybe if I had a funny PNG tuber or a face cam or something, this would be funny, but like, I would love to set up like a fucking VTuber. Like, I got a character I got an OC, obviously. I got an OC. I'm a fucking, what am I, 24-year-old? Anyway, here I am doing this, by the way. I just realized, why am I doing this? Let's go with 450? No, 430. No, I don't want to. I actually, maybe no, not this spline. The question I need to know is, where does this spline end? Oh wait. Hey, why am I not getting the spline? Maybe you need to re-put the tool back on, you know? So let's try 400 distance. Okay. I got several voices that I can whip out at a single moment. That I can vocalize in a single moment, not whip out. I have to catch myself. No one to correct me, but I have to catch myself. Oh. But yeah, no, I did not need hear this IGN drama like the IGN bought websites. That's new. But yeah, no, I don't like this sort of. It feels like there are videos online talking, and maybe I'll watch like a dev video or two, if I get the okay to. I don't know, but I might watch like a short fat otaku video or two on stream. Again, someone's probably like upset about that, but it's just like, what do you expect? What are you gonna do? I can't fucking, like, I'm sorry that my politics differ. Like, whoops. Can't believe people have different moral values I can't believe two humans are gonna have different moral values based off their life experience being different. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not like, oh, that means like that's like okay for like bad shit. Like, no. Like you know, like with all the Dr. Disrespect drama recently, like I may as well mention that it's like the Dr. Disrespect drama, like that's so dumb. That was so, like, oh my god. Not in the sense, like, the way it was dumb was the fact that Doc fucking did it. It's not the fact that it happened. It's the fact that Doc fucking did it. And it's just like, this should have been reported to the police. Like, I've said this online. I've said this on Twitter or X. Like, this should have been reported to the police. This should have been told to the cops. I genuinely hope it has. I don't know why there hasn't been any news of, you know, an investigation. I mean, considering how public of an event this has been, but or was even at the time. But the major issue is, like, even behind the scenes, people still, like, YouTube knew. Like, the problem is apparently, like, yapping out of my ass right now without access to Twitter. Let me pull up a Nick Diorio. Nicholas. Gonna associate myself with the drama crowd and immediately get kicked out because I'm bringing up the hit YouTuber Nicholas Diorio that everyone hates. You can see here Slasher. I was watching this earlier. Maybe we'll watch this clip. There's been a lot of interesting stuff happening as of late. Oh my god. Oh man. I don't know. I got respect for Jeremy's grind and hustle, but it's just like, I don't know. There's some things he's said online that make me go, yeah, I wouldn't say that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think that's just me. So here's this is pretty. The fact that Dr. Disrespect continues to be drip fed to us isn't really paying. It's like a need to know. Alright, the fact that Dr. Disrespect information continues to be drip fed to us isn't really painting Twitch in a good light. I agree, by the way. That really hurts. If Twitch wanted Doc Disrespect to, if they really wanted to protect kids, my problem here is that, you know, they did not protect, I don't think they protected kids by not informing the public that Dr. Disrespect had touched minors, and that's why they cut the partnership. Like, they could have said that publicly, but the closest we got is whatever Slasher said, which was, you know, that it was serious. And yeah, it was. Like, holy shit. Not sexting. I don't know if it was sexting, because I don't see the logs. No one's seen the logs. We just have word of mouth, which really is annoying, but at the same time, Why are so many content creators like doing this shit? Like, I don't fucking get it. Maybe is it like a fucking disease in like some fucking part of the world, or like some mental disorder type shit? I don't fucking know. I don't want to touch kids. That's disgusting. I ain't a kid anymore. So I don't want to touch them. They ain't mine. But yeah. Yeah, like it feels, so to continue reading, it feels like we are on a need to know basis, and they keep leaking a little bit more sensitive info, keep leaking a little bit more sensitive info each time to own the delusional defenders of Doc. Yeah. My problem here is there wouldn't be defenders if Twitch had come out in the first place and said, "This guy touched kids! This guy wanted to touch kids!" Like, it's that one meme of, let me see if I can find it. You're gonna figure out what it is now, because you saw the thing.
So this is...
Here it is. Let me... No, wait. I don't need to copy. There we go. Alright. So this is a really old video, but I love this one. So it just makes me think, like, this is how it feels.
So this is where Major Klug lives. I grew minors! This is where my Discord got doxxed on 4chan! Klug Inc! Where pedophiles and groomers alike come to groom! We don't need age verification because we want minors here! So we can tickle their foreskins and touch their forceps! Major Groom?
Major
Take
Groom?
my spiked drink so I can groom you! Yes! Ah! Klug Inc! Come here if you want your tickled, touched, and your pickled, lickled. Join our server, except you can't because invites are closed!
Like, I don't think this was ever expected, Worthy Kids ever expected this whenever the original Wizard Beer got uploaded, but man, Wizard Beer was a good animation. Like, I love what Worthy Kids does. Shout out to them for, Big Top Burger, I think it is. Yeah, Big Top Burger. I love Big Top Burger, man. It's awesome. But anyway, moving away from talking about that groomer, let's talk about another one. All right, as the hours tick by, more and more information. This was June 27th, and more information is slowly being spoon-fed to us. It becomes more and more confusing as to why Twitch shut down the story. Maybe if idiots like the quartering tweet a few more times, we might just get the logs. So, at the time, Jeremy was defending Dr. Disrespect. He was defending, Herschel, Guy Herschel. I think it was. But, it was so fucking dumb. Oh my god. Like, I think I said in this thread, somewhere in it, like, the fact that Twitch didn't report it to me is concerning. I'm probably repeating myself multiple times. I don't really care. I'm just making note of it, I guess. It's pretty fucking rich to see all the people who knew he messaged that minor and hid this information from the public go on a temper tantrum when the people just didn't believe them, when they were forced to tell the truth. So, it is pretty fucking rich to see all the people who knew he messaged that minor and hid the information from the public go on to throw a temper tantrum when people just didn't believe them, when they never were forced to tell the truth. Okay, I had to reread that. I don't know. I think that was read wrong in my head, but you can see my reply here. let you guys read that on screen, but if you watched from the sidelines for 4 years, and while this dude's career got even bigger, if you watch from the sidelines for 4 years while this dude's career got even bigger, I don't think you really get to criticize people who wanted more than your guarantee that Dr. Disrespect is a danger to children prior to Doc's actual confession. Yes. The problem was that the fact that Dr. Disrespect's reason was not reported on was concerning in of itself, because it allowed him to just go back to streaming, which he did. And I don't like that. I really don't like that. I don't know. If you were accused of something as awful as that, like, you probably shouldn't, and it's proven, like, it's provable, like, as in it actually happened, which this clearly did. Like, with all the information now that we know, yes. With the confession from Herschel, yes. From Guy Herschel, Dr. Disrespect, yes. But the major problem here is simply the fact that it was not told to us until people got upset that people were defending Dr. Disrespect, which wouldn't have happened, again, had they explained it publicly, which I put here. You know, if they explained it publicly, this wouldn't have happened. You know? Like, or not, this wouldn't have happened. I shouldn't say it that way. What wouldn't have happened is Dr. Disrespect being able to go around and, you know, do whatever he wants. You know, and, you know, to Mentis Wave, hi if you're watching this in the future, but, anyway, I'm gonna get back to watching the video. I need to stop yapping.
Because, hey, they all have the exact same opinions anyway, so why not just fuse? As well as stories of blatant extortion, and studios being forced to include DEI standards and woke propaganda in their games, lest they be hit with bad press and general poor coverage, all because they refuse to bend the knee. And the truth is that all of these takes that people have been having lately...
I really just went on a ramble like that in the middle of a fucking clip about... What was it? This? What the fuck was he even talking
Subjects
about?
Like
I'm
Gamergate
stupid.
2 and the Sweet Baby
I may be stupid.
Various game journalist publications all consolidating.
I don't
into
pretend
one
to be smart.
because,
Oh yeah,
hey,
it was Now I remember, sorry. I hope I'm not destroying the microphone. Again, this is my first stream. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry to the random people that show up and are like, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing, you know? So I'm just gonna keep watching. But yeah, 4 companies merging into one. That's serious. That's pretty serious. Anyway, open the map.
Same opinions anyway, so why not just fuse? As well as stories of blatant extortion and studio...
Oh yeah, he was saying that they all have the same opinions, so... Yeah. Like, yeah, that's also true. Like, the problem is these people all pretty much live in, like, the same areas. Like, it's usually cities, as far as I understand. Usually California. Opposite side of the country to me, and it's California, so I am legally required as a New Jerseyan to hate that place for existing. But also as a person who doesn't like California, I am legally required to hate it for existing. Not literally. I'm obviously joking, but yeah, whatever. Moving on.
Studios being forced to include DEI standards and woke propaganda in their games, lest they be hit with bad press and general poor coverage, all because they refuse to bend the knee. And the truth is that all of these takes that people have been having lately,
and yeah, like there's a video. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. It's like a video of, I think, Sweet Baby Inc.'s founder, basically going on record to say they would openly promote basically the way they would get this is they would threaten them, the developers, with basically public scrutiny, similar to what's going on with Black Myth Wukong. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep watching.
All of the scandals that have been happening are all a part of an overarching problem. So in this video, I'm going
remember,
to go
guys,
over the problems of gaming journalism.
Just remember, it's okay to mistranslate things if they have the wrong... It's okay to be racist to another culture and mistranslate their own language if you don't like them or their politics or something. You're gonna hear a lot of opinions. I am an offensive person. Okay, so let's be very clear with that. I am not a nice person. This is gonna become very obvious as this goes on. I think that I do have hate energy.
Journalism in the gaming industry over the years. Explain how
I describe it as me having hater energy or hate energy. I guess that's so fucking stupid of a stupid way of describing it, but I feel like it's apt. So I guess to, let's continue.
This mess came to be, as well as going over solutions that anyone can choose to be a part of. Because the unfortunate truth here is that all these recent videos about Gamergate 2, Sweet Baby Inc., woke ideological takeover, biased journalism, and low-quality games are in fact all components of a cancerous tumor that has been infecting and killing video games journalism and to much degree the entire gaming industry as a whole for quite some time now. So what you are about to watch here is the story of how this beloved industry has become infected with narcissistic...
Let me stop this train. I want to see if I can get rid of the taskbar and my bookmarks, because I know you guys can see my bookmarks right now, so... Window. Oh. That was a firework, I think? Are they setting off fireworks early? Maybe that's why Nico's scared. Whenever Nico's a very skittish dog. He does not like he doesn't like loud noise, so he runs. But anyway, I'm working with OBS here, so I'm just trying to figure this out. Fit to screen, stretch to screen, center to screen. No, I don't want to transform. I want to order. Not blending method. No transitions. Good for them, though. Capture cursor, yeah. Game capture, properties. Capture cursor, yeah, okay. Yep, you can see the cursor. Hello! I'm looking at it on my screen too. Very good photo to pause on, by the way. For the 3 viewers here, welcome. To the random YouTuber you've just shown up to. I'm not really a YouTuber, I just started out, so... well, started out live streaming, not really started out, but welcome one viewer, I guess. But let's see if I can... I'm just fiddling again. This is my test stream, but train. Look at a train while you wait. This is a Shay. I like these things. These are my children, metaphorically, not literally. I like these things. Just the entirety of the Shay locomotives. No. Maybe I'll just hide the, only on new tab page. There we go. There you go. You guys can't see that now. I'm gonna keep streaming anyway. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna close this image. You can stop staring at the one image I saved that you can look at. Now you can look at me and the game again. Well, not me. I don't have a face cam or anything. I would love to get a VTuber model of my my OC. If I can, I wonder if I can get an image of the guy, of my funny train man. Cause he's what I like to call a locomorph. I have a few memes, but let's try image. So I have an art tablet, and I drew this guy. This guy's been around in my art for a while. I might try and see if I can fish up some pictures from elsewhere, like my phone and art book and shit. Like I have art, you know. Why am I showing you this actually? Wait. I have a full picture of him, of the my profile picture. 9.5. There it is. Oh, control. Look at this guy. It's not the full body picture, but you can sort of see the ideas. I've redrawn it since then. I might see if I can sweep through a Discord or something later and grab an image, because I do have images I've posted, but it's most of my drawings are on paper in terms of this guy, but I've been I was starting to try and get into digital art before I gave up. That happens. That happens to me, sadly. It happens to a lot of people apparently, but can't talk when I have no work. So maybe if I do streams more, I'll do an art stream or something.
narcissistic, woke, ideologically driven activists who abused legal and financial power dynamics in order to force their way into gaming and pervert it from within, resulting in the trash fire of corruption and rot we see today. Or in simpler terms, this is the story of how gaming has been twisted into far-left propaganda.
Interesting. Okay. Like, I wouldn't say every game is far-left propaganda, and I don't think this guy is either. I don't think Mentis here is saying that. Yeah. But, It's not a point I disagree with. I think games are getting a lot more woke in the sense of... Or I shouldn't say woke. Like, the idea of something being woke and being, like, accepting of, like, groups like the LGBT, or, you know, being kind to others and being accepting of who they are, while also embracing a diversity of both person and thought. Just to define, diversity of thought is a difference in, like, ideals, and a diversity of person would be like you know, like, everyone looks different. That's diversity of person. A lot of the modern diversity, like diversity, inclusivity, equity, or diversity, equity, inclusivity, DEI as it is, like, that's where I'm personally thinking it stems from. So everyone's gonna like cite this as, like, see, this guy right here, this Pyro Train thing guy, he's hateful and he's a bigot. Like, get off my case, you don't know me. Like, obviously, they ain't gonna know me. Like, they ain't know how I... Like, no one knows how another person was raised, necessarily. So...
But before I get into that, let me just
Let's get into it.
State that this video is not sponsored by anyone, and will likely end up earning limited ad revenue due to the fact that I will be stating things that, while demonstrably true, go heavily against certain established narratives. So if you wish to support me, I'm currently holding a limited time sale for the 2 shirts on my merch store that are relevant to this video. I've also created some mug versions for people who wish to be on the screen.
Good.
Alternatively, you can support me on...
Like, I like YouTuber merch sometimes, but, like... That's cool, that's funny. I like these, but, I usually only wear, like, merch, YouTuber merch and stuff around the house. Like, I usually wear it for pajama clothing, like, as a pajama shirt or something. Like, if I'm not planning to go anywhere, I usually wear it.
On co-fires.
Like, I might, like, an OK Journo shirt. That's something I would get. That is something I would get. OK Journo.
Or for those of you who don't have any money, no worries. Feel free to subscribe and just enjoy the video. And I'm going to start this off with the big guns. The primary cause of how gaming journalism has destroyed its credibility and the reason why its current state should be regarded as entirely fraudulent. And this reason is the unfortunate fact that mainstream game journal publications over time have replaced, or in some cases converted, the journalists who were actually gamers with journos who are little more than prestige-seeking cathedralites. And of course, the immediate question is, what the heck is a prestige-seeking cathedralite? So let's go over that.
I was about to say. What is that?
This is actually the most important.
Sorry, Nico. No, Nico, stay. I know I'm laughing. He's getting up. He thinks he's safe. He's gonna hear a firework in a moment. But he thinks he's safe. He'll be fine. He's fine. He's a good doggy. Oh, hold on. I wish I could stream from my phone. I wish I could, like, quickly pull out, like, a phone cam or something and, like, show this, because I think Nico's blocked in by Tabitha, it looks like. Yeah, Tabitha does this thing where I leave my door open because it can't lock, but Tabitha likes to sit near that door and, like, just rub against it. Like, it's a cat. She's a cat. You know, she was a feral cat. Like, she was my grandmother's cat. She was my grandmother. She lived in where is it? Piscataway. She lived across from me. Like, you would basically, you go down one road. I'm not gonna dox myself. Actually, wait. I need to be smart. Simon, you are on a stream. Be smart. It's okay, Nico. But yeah, this cat, I love her to death. 'Cause even though she's kind of mean sometimes, but the reason why I love her is and we take care of her is because she was one of my grandmother's cats. My grandmother used to take in a lot of stray cats. Like, she would leave food outside and take in cats. And one of the cats she took in was Tabitha, one of the last ones. But she had a lot of cats. She was the old cat lady, except she was actually like a good person. Like, she was all right. Like, she was the matriarch of the family at the time. And she passed in I think it was 2022. Let me check. I should remember this. Obviously, I should remember this. This is my family, but I'm coming up to the day, I think. If we hadn't already passed it. But oh man, I'm looking at old photos of a dog that I used to have. Man. Yeah, we used to have another dog named Janie. Love her. She was a beagle. She was our first dog. She lived 2011 to 2023, so 12 years. But she was our first dog, and we poured a lot of love into her. So I'm just yapping while scrolling. July 28th. It's a month from now. Tabitha looked so different back then. She used to have very matted fur, because my grandmother, she was bedridden. She had Alzheimer's. And there were photos of her with this like really matted fur. But when we took care of her, when we got whole ownership of her, when she's under our house now, we've been like taking care of her fur for her. So like one of the things we did, really weird. So this is gonna sound really weird. We put olive oil on her fur, and yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and yapping and shit. I'm not very good at this test stream, am I? Sorry, the one viewer that's here. I was blocking the video as well. I just realized. No, you don't want to budge? Okay. She's a perfect loaf right now, Tabitha is. She's pretty stubborn. She was a stray cat that my grandmother took in. And what's notable, what we found out, is that she was spayed. I mean, obviously we found out she was spayed. She had a clipped ear. But she's also blind in one eye. Which is like that eye that is blind is actually like black, like I think it's pigment or something. I don't know.
concept that is needed to be.
Here's this. I was looking at this image and I saw Vosh and I had to pause because, I mean, there's I think this lady's from the 2016 election, 2016 inauguration of Trump or something. Like she was one of those people. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know this guy.
Be able to grasp specifically how the gaming industry became twisted into this propaganda mill we
people
see
are
today.
gonna know who I am
comes
just by
from
watching
Curtis
this,
Yarvin's idea of the cathedral, which is this observation of this interesting mystery that the modern world's legitimate and prestigious intellectual institutions, even though they have no central organizational connection, behave in many ways as if they were a single organizational structure. Or in other words, this mystery of how a lot of journalist and academic institutions, despite being decentralized, seem to behave as if it's all one big giant echo chamber circle jerk. And the reason this happens is because of ideological capture. It's not called the cathedral to try and insult the Catholic Church, but rather it's just a reference to the phenomenon that happens if, say, one becomes the primary ideology of said intellectual institutions. Especially if said ideology is extremely dogmatic and extremely intolerant towards competing ideologies. What
yeah. So that's actually true. It doesn't matter far left, far right. Like let's be fucking real. Like I hate the far right. Oh my god. They're so fucking obnoxious, man. But like the thing is the far right doesn't have media. The far right doesn't have like as much control in media and shit as lefties do, as leftists do. Like how like if the right wing and the far right are taking over and have taken over and are scary and stuff and in the gaming world, like if there's far right game developers and transphobic game developers and shit, like why do you feel so comfortable talking and calling them out when we don't even know what crime they're accused of? I don't know. That's just me, but there's cases of like I don't know. It's like cases of he said, she said. I'm not defending like sexual harassment or anything like that, but like or sexual assault or anything, but like it's more about I'm not talking about that. But what I'm more talking about is the issues of we don't really know why someone is bad. We're just told someone is bad, sort of deal. Someone is bad because they believe so X, Y, and Z, you know?
What happens if such an ideology becomes dominant is that people who do not bend the knee to that ideology are ultimately kicked out of the institutions, because what they said is immediately deemed to be wrongthink trademark. This also creates an incentive for the people who wish to stay within those institutions to make sure that they are only publishing work that aligns with said correct opinions. Or in other words, in order to seek prestige within their institution, or to
like pushing a bunch of people who will talk identity politics in the office to then push out the actual journalists so they can get the spots and keep writing while the actual quality writers may leave or retire, as people tend to do.
increase their rank, they must ensure that whatever they're saying or whatever they're writing always aligns with the correct think trademark opinions trademark from said dogmatic ideology. Now, in the context of today, that ideology happens to be the cult of woke, which comes from the idea that a lack of diversity and equity and inclusion implies that something unfair or nefarious has happened, and far-left activists will use this to justify their agenda. It also includes envy and hatred directed at groups that are deemed to be successful, because again, the lack of DEI must be their fault, as those groups are somewhat ironically collectively accused of discrimination. This provides an immediate explanation for why the games industry in the West reached a boiling point a little over a decade ago, where they suddenly hated you if you were a straight white male. Straight men are perceived—
Yeah, like, honestly, like, I was a fucking teenager when I started hearing the straight white male stuff. Like, I was a young male. So hearing you're a straight white male, like, without proof, like, people just making judgments on me based off of my skin tone and personality. I mean, obviously I'm not. I don't think I'm straight. Like, no one's gonna believe that, but I'm not. I don't think I am, but, let's continue.
Perceived to be on top of the progressive stack, and thus
Like,
in
the
accordance...
problem I'm having more is just the fact that they're putting people down, not that they're trying to lift people up to the same level. It's that they're putting other people down for their inherent characteristics. But it's okay because they're the majority or something, or they've been in positions of power for a long time. So, you know, if you're just attacking these critiques, then you must be a racist or something. Man, if only I did have a face cam. I wonder, the wonderful comments and reactions there would be
as to how woke ideology justifies
for
punching
me as a
upwards.
person.
This created a justification for forcibly reducing their numbers. In regards to gaming, this is especially noticeable because the largest demographic of people who identify as hardcore gamers tend to be, again, straight men, which the cult of woke, again, of course, views as a toxic element that has to be removed. And thus...
Right. It's not that, you know, video games were catered towards men from the aftermath of the games market crash, it's not that, yeah, video games were released, or after the video games crash, basically, companies marketed towards men, like boys, they marketed towards boys and stuff for video games instead of marketing towards women. Like, I think that's the reason I heard somewhere, but, even then, that's a little loose. To me, anyway, like, I'm not saying that's not the truth. I'm saying that, to me, I don't know if it's the truth. So don't take my word for anything. I'm a stranger on the internet. Don't take my word for anything. You know? You shouldn't take my word for anything anyway. I'm just fixing this derailment for a second. So I went with I guess to talk about the railroad here, I went with the starter Shay because, I mean, have you seen the image? Like, if anyone looked at the image I showed, I like these things. These things are like adopted children to me. Like, it doesn't matter what gauge it is. It doesn't matter what, I mean, it does matter where it is. Like, if it's not in America, I'm probably not inclined to care as much, just because that's me. But, I like Shays. Shays are my babies. They are my metaphorical babies. They are, like, my favorite, you know? Like, I wish, if there's anything I would love to do in life, I guess, like, this is gonna be, you're gonna hear this a lot if I do stream. Like, I think people are gonna hear this a lot when I do stream. Like, you're gonna hear me go, man, I want to do this, I want to drive this, I want to build this. Like, one thing I really, like, have, I guess, fantasized about doing is finding, like, an abandoned, one of the abandoned A-frame Shays, or an A-frame Shay of any kind, or even new building one, and just going with that. And I call it A-frame, not Class A, because I'm me. So let's get back to watching this video. Like, I'm a fan of very, very oddball locomotives at times. Anyway.
the justification was put in place for
Let's,
gamers
turn
to be
down
replaced by
game
prestige
volume, I
seekers.
think.
The prestige-seeking cathedralites we see today are thus the people who are willing to push and bow down to this ideology or cult of woke in order to maintain their prestige within the industry. That has essentially become dominated by woke ideology. Whether they actually believe in this ideology or not is irrelevant, as due to the intolerant nature of wokeness, they're forced to bow down in order to just honestly keep their jobs. So some of them are grifters, while some of them are true believers, but all of them are prestige-seeking cathedrals.
I'm just tweaking audio
Or you pretty
levels
much
right
have
now.
to be one in order to get in with the in crowd.
back.
And the prestige-seeking graphic of people who identify as hardcore gamers tend to be, again, straight men, which the cult of woke, again,
Gun
of course,
open.
uses a toxic element that has to be removed. And thus the justification was put in place for gamers to be replaced by prestige seekers. The prestige-seeking cathedralites we see today are thus the people who are willing to push and bow down to this ideology or cult of woke in order to maintain their prestige within the industry. That is,
I feel like that's a little reductive. I don't know. It feels like not everyone is like that, obviously. Like, there are people like this who think exactly like that, I'm sure. I'm not going to deny anything, but it's just like, I don't think it's everyone. I think a lot of people, when you present them information, they're going to adapt to it, especially if it's undeniable, ideally. Like, if you present them a full plate, as it were, as I describe it as a full plate. What I'm basically saying is just show them everything you know. That's mostly why I'm doing these streams, though. It's just to, I guess, ramble and talk about my opinions. And that's probably why most people are here.
has essentially become
If they
dominated
show
by
up.
woke ideology.
They
Whether
don't have
actually
to.
believe
No one
in
has
this
to,
ideology
obviously.
or not is irrelevant, as due to the
Your life,
intolerant
not mine. I'm just doing my fun thing. VOD will be up afterwards. You can always watch that.
nature of wokeness, they're forced to bow down in order to just honestly keep their jobs. So some of them are grifters, while some of them are true believers, but all of them are prestige-seeking cathedrals. Or you pretty much have to be one in order to get in with the in crowd in this industry these days.
Yeah.
This is why all these game journalist publications all seem to have the same opinions, and why so many games designed today in the West tend to have the same boring, predictable, woke, activist-infused plot lines. It is simply the result of the fact that in order to be successful in this industry these days, they have to be prestige seekers.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot. Sweet Baby, this is Sweet Baby Inc. By the way, this is all the games Sweet Baby Inc. worked on. Sweet Baby Inc. worked on Goodbye Volcano High. I forgot that they did that. Oh my god. Goodbye Volcano High is a funny, funny game. I like them. They're nice. No, they're not nice. I like their design. Sorry, wait, no, Snoot Game. This is Snoot Game. Guys, this is fake knockoff Snoot Game or whatever. I don't know the joke. I wasn't there to roast on Goodbye Volcano High and Snoot Game and stuff. That wasn't my corner of the internet, I guess.
One important thing to understand that this is not a conspiracy theory. Rather, this is just a logical, mathematically inevitable conclusion of what happens when an intolerant ideology becomes the dominant ideology within any kind of institution. It is simply a result of the fact that anybody who resists that ideology
I
will be
think-
kicked out.
Some of the people who preach peace and love the most and tolerance and shit tend to be the most hateful people. Be honest with the world, be truthful with who you are, and people will judge you based on that. Lying and, trying to hide your true self doesn't really work out as much. Obviously everyone's got their archetypes, but, in their head, but, like, not everything's everything.
Out until there's basically nobody left except true believers and people who are at least willing to pretend to be true believers. However, one thing a lot of people get wrong about the decentralized gatekeeping
But yeah, no, this is pretty similar to how I feel right now. Not everything in the video, but just this moment at the moment. Like, the problem I have is the idea that you need to just view people as like a ideological adversary or something similar. Like, my concern is that there's a lot of people like that, where they view the world as though you gotta view it as us versus them if they hate us. I can understand where that comes from. Excuse me. I can understand where that comes from, and I'm not trying to say that I don't hold that, because I probably do as well. We're humans. We have flaws. But I'm gonna unpause.
That the cathedral does is that it's not inherently a bad thing. Sometimes this kind of intolerance is entirely justified. For instance, it makes perfect logical sense for an intellectual academic institution to be intolerant towards people who are low IQ, or those who show a consistent lack of intellectual integrity, or fraudsters who publish papers with fake data. A good intellectual institution that wants to remain good obviously must do its best to expunge incompetent individuals. The problem here is that woke ideology does exactly the opposite of this. Because it views disproportionate group success as a sign of the great sin of mud discrimination and seeks to replace that group, the woke cathedral of today is an
Yeah, by the way, honors programs. I love honors programs. You know, my school had them. Oh shit, this is the log track. Hold on. This is the lumber mill, by the way, for those who haven't seen it. Yeah. Lumber mill. I did not realize I left a car. That's on me. That's on me. There we are. Whee! Oh my god, I can't wait to... I have so many memories for this game. I've just... Playing this game makes me want to live stream, I guess. Because I rant and ramble, but more because I love building things and I need people to play with, but more just because I love building things and sharing things with people. Anyway, back to the video.
Inherently kakistocratic, which means that it ends up placing the least intelligent and most dishonest people in charge, as opposed to the natural order. The people who are willing to lie and stretch the truth and say stupid things in favor of DEI and Marxist propaganda are the ones who gain prestige, while people who call out
a government run by the least suitable citizen or competent citizens of a kakistocracy. Kakistocracy, okay. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like America's become a kakistocracy because we've become fearful. If you want to call America a kakistocracy, right? I feel like America's become a kakistocracy in the sense that okay, it's become a kakistocracy in the sense that people are afraid of, you know, doing anything because they hear all these, you know, negative stories about what happens to politicians who, you know, might do the right thing, or they hear what happens to a politician who did the right thing but they turned out to be crooked or something. Like, I feel like there's become a genuine fear of stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm only like 24, so you can't really, like... I can't really say I know everything.
the logical inconsistencies of this ideology ultimately are not granted prestige and are, in many cases, shoved out. So that just brings up the question for the next section of this video. How in the heck did this happen? Well, the first thing that needs to be understood is the fact that wokeness in the video game industry these days is really just a branch off wokeness in general. Woke ideology has infected the mainstream media in general, not just the video game industry.
Yeah, I feel like, oh my god, I was playing Wolfenstein, right? What I really didn't like about Wolfenstein 2 was that they had Anya. This, I always get Metro and, side note, I always get Metro and, Wolfenstein's, female interest characters confused sometimes, just because Anna and Anya are so close together in my head. Anya is from Wolfenstein. Anna is from Metro. But yeah, like to give my example, right? I might if I do live streams and play games on streams and stuff. Like I might actually consider doing like a Wolfenstein playthrough because or just all like Wolfenstein New Blood not New Blood, it's New Colossus. No, not New Colossus. New Order, Old Blood, New Colossus. That's the order. And we are not playing Youngblood. Maybe we'll play some older Wolfenstein games. We are not playing Youngblood. I'm not playing Youngblood, more like. Look at me walking into the cordwood, thinking I can walk over it.
History. So really...
But one thing I really didn't like about Wolfenstein The New Colossus was how unceremoniously they killed Caroline. Like, Caroline's death was very, very significant, and it was handled right at the beginning of the game, and it did not feel like it had impact. I hated it. I hated the entire moment. I liked Grace. I liked Grace and Sigrun, but I feel like the problem with Grace was the fact they introduced her without keeping on Caroline. I feel like they could have kept Caroline and Grace and had like this interesting spat between the old head and the new radical, you know, the old guard and the new blood, you know, the new recruit versus the experienced and seniority in terms of presence within the resistance or whatever. Yeah, in the context of Wolfenstein, it's the resistance. I'm gonna be right back. I have to pee. Let me mute my microphone because this microphone tends to be very receptive. I'm back. I like moguls. Moguls are nice. I dislike that they call this one Glenbrook. What I don't like about Railroad... I'm back, by the way, but I'm before I start the video, I'm gonna ramble. Because I'm playing Railroads Online, I may as well. I can't wait for someone to come back, one of the developers to come into this video and be like, oh, or something. I don't know. I just have negative opinions about the people around me because I am insecure or something. Anyway, Class 25, Montezuma. What I don't like about this game is the models. There's a lot of these engines, a lot of these locomotives, where they're based off a specific one, a very specific design. of the locomotive. Like, here's 10 Mile. Like, this is very much meant to be like a Mason Bogey, but the idea is that it's supposed to more or less be modeled after 10 Mile. I hate this. No, get rid of this. It's a pet peeve. It's evil. Should not be on this locomotive. I hate it. Why did you put it on this? Like, change it out. Get a different funnel entirely. This one is not it. Not this one. Change it out. Fit, like, no. You know? That's my opinion. Right? I love the Mason Bogey. This is not what you should do with it. Because, what I'm told is this would not work because this isn't really connected to anything. Oh, hi Nico. He put his paw on my sock really quick. He said, "Hey Simon, you're talking. You're angry. You need to calm down." But yeah, it does. This makes me upset, not because the fact that it's modeled. I love that the Ridgeway Spark Arrestor is modeled. It's what it's put on. It's just what it's put on. You know? Like, of all the options, you could have picked. This is the worst idea. Like, and there are more locomotives in this game that actually it would make sense on. There are locomotives in this game that it would make sense on. You're looking at it right now. The locomotive that it would make sense on. Behold. The locomotive it makes sense on. That you can put a Ridgeway Spark Arrestor on. Except you can't because it's only 3 smokestacks. What do you mean you want more paint what do you mean you want more options, you know? You've got green paint and unlined. So this is unlined, right? Yeah, unlined and then green unlined. Okay. But, yeah, I don't like it. I just have a problem, personally. Like, I love the Class 70. You should have picked another locomotive to put the Ridgeway on. You know, that's my opinion. Like, my problem is I love the Mason Bogey. Like, I've become autistically fixated on narrow gauge over the past years. And the Mason Bogey is just everything. The more I hear about it, the more it makes me giddy, smile, and want one of these again, or want to build one of these. Like, it just makes me want, like it makes me angry, and it makes me annoyed that one of these was scrapped. Yeah. But yeah, my opinion is this funnel should not be here. This funnel should be redone or changed out for a different model. And what should happen is the Ridgeway Spark Arrestor gets added to the Class 70, and maybe later on, whenever the developers want to do it, the C19. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Obviously, like you don't have to like enjoy what I say. Like, let me turn off the video. This does not spark joy. This makes me frown. This sparks joy. This sparks joy. This sparks so much joy. You have no idea. If I could be partially responsible, or even helpful in the construction of this, if I could help be one of the people that's constructing this, that's all I want, you know? I want to build these wheels. I want to build this boiler and the nice, I don't know if this is supposed to be, yeah, this is wood. This is a wooden cab. I don't know if we would do a wooden cab if we remade this, if we modernized this. Obviously, the modeled version here has vacuum brakes. Mason bogies, fortunately, were fitted with an air pump, so we aren't worrying about the scary, the ancient, the bad, as I call it. I don't like vacuum brakes because they're weak. I think they're weak. That's it. But yeah, no, I just love this. It's so oddball, but it's iconic in its shape. It's oddball yet iconic. That's just how I describe things I like is dinky. I usually call things dinky babies, but yeah, here Eureka and Glenbrook, I hate that they call these two things this. This is an 818C. This is not Eureka. This is an 818D2. This is not Glenbrook. This is just modeled after Glenbrook. And just the same way, this is just modeled after Eureka. I just want to say that. I want to ramble about that. So this stream is going to... Expect this stream to be all over the place, by the way, for any new viewers who are like, what is this guy? Everyone's going to be a new viewer, obviously, but what is this guy talking about? What is bro yapping about? Trains. I'm going to yap about everything. So enjoy. But, like, this, the climax to an extent, but especially the Eureka, Porter and other Porter. Yeah, the two Porters. Eureka. And, yeah, the two Porters and Eureka, I think, need a remodel, in my personal opinion. That's just me. I just think they need remodeling. I know that's probably on their developer roadmap internally or whatever. Like, they're probably, like, working on something for the A18C, especially because it seems like, at the moment, there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, done after Century of Steam does it. The A18C was shown off, obviously, by Century of Steam, but, by the way, if you click this video or watching after in the VOD, and you're like, why are you mentioning Century of Steam? That's, like, the better game, like... do you hate Railroads Online? The answer is no. I don't hate the game. I just hate some of the developers behind it. Not the lead one. The lead one, I used to hate. And I shouldn't. Because he's probably a decent guy, all things considered. But, shout out Kume, you're probably nice. I don't know. I've never met you in real life. You live in Germany, so I don't think I will. But my major problem with Railroads Online is the fact that it's made by Europeans who are trying to make an American game. Like, I think Century of Steam has said this as well, where it's Europeans making an American railroad narrow gauge sim. So it's more... It feels like there's some things that shouldn't be in this, like the LJM train set bumper. I didn't even own LJM. I just know that that's what it was because everyone said that now. But it's just like gameplay purposes, right? Gameplay purposes. It's for gameplay purposes. What's a sand drag? What do you mean sand drags are a real thing? You know? It's for gameplay purposes. Add a bumper. Gameplay purposes, guys. What do you mean? What do you mean the, Hold on. I gotta complain about this. I got another thing to complain about. Wait, no. This, by the way, in-game they call this an EBT hopper. I did not think this was a real hopper. Or this was like a meter gauge example or something. Turns out, this is a Carson I think this is Carson in Colorado? Someone afterwards... you know, watching this is probably could correct me, but I think this is Carson in Colorado or Colorado. Central or something like that. I'm not too familiar with railroads, like railroad names and where things come from. I'm not that high spec into my autism. But as I would say, but what I know basically is this entire everything they say about locomotives and cars and shit here, that is not accurate. Like that is to be taken with a grain of salt. Even if the information is statistically correct, it should be taken with a grain of salt just because the developers, or not the developers themselves, the person that wrote it, I don't think understood it that well. Or they found information that was older or something. Like maybe like that's probably what it is. It's more the former rather than the latter. You know, they probably, you know, do their research and then they find out like, oh, you know, this is obviously an EBT hopper. I don't have to say anything. Like, as far as I know, there's pretty much everything confirming that. But for this, yeah, it's not East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. Because I have looked at the images of those hoppers. There is way too many planks on the side here for it to be an East Tennessee, Western North Carolina hopper. And not only that, this little block at the bottom does not match up. So, it's 2 strikes. As I say. I would like to say it's 2 strikes from what I've seen online. I'm gonna put the video back up, and we are gonna go back to watching this. If you have just gotten here, this video is just talking about, you know, Sweet Baby Inc., Gamergate stuff. I'll fucking put a link to it in the chat so that you can go watch this if you want to, but it's been 2 days. I think that's a good enough time to let the video breathe, I think, so that it gets its natural viewership. I'm saying all this like I'm not like I'm a big time YouTuber, and I'm not like starting this as like a random one-off stream right now.
You were just looking at one component of a large
like, I
problem that needs to be understood.
Like, there's a lot of games in my library. Like, I'll probably, I don't think I'll open it up, but there's not anything bad. But it's just like there's a lot of games on the list that I could play, especially for games that I have not touched. Like, one game I really want to play is Pseudo-Orgalia. And also, another game is Psychonauts. I also want to play Psychonauts 2, but Pseudo-Orgalia is a much higher up thing. Anyway, yeah, that's right. I linked it in the comment.
In order to fully understand how everything came to be. Which is a pretty big deal, because the effects of this propaganda can be seen pretty strongly in the polls. For example, DEI initiatives are very unpopular with the general public. Most people do not actually like woke ideology. However, because propaganda tells people that DEI is good, people will say that they agree with DEI if they're asked if they agree with DEI and aren't getting...
That's something I've noticed too. If you just tell someone, oh, this is good, they'll just believe it. There's things where if it is nuanced enough of a topic, people will just believe you on it. It does not matter how incorrect you may be after the fact. You can just say something and people will believe it. It's called misinformation.
Anything specific. For example, a YouGov poll asked people if they were in favor
or
of
something
funding...
like that. I don't know. I'm not someone who's smart. I just talk a lot.
All diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Most people oppose that. However, when people are asked if they actually support a policy specifically that happens to be a DEI policy, people overwhelmingly oppose it. For example, a Gallup poll found that most people believed it was a good thing that the Supreme Court banned race in college admission decisions. And by
yeah, who would be upset with this? Like, the only people upset with this are the people who are, like, very much okay with certain races being racist while others aren't. Like, no racism's good. I'm sorry that I have to be the one that says that. Like, some random nobody on the internet has to be like, did you know racism is bad? But, like, yeah, racism is bad.
A pretty massive margin, and this is a pretty common theme. You ask people if they support DEI, and a lot of people will say yes, but then you ask those same people if they support a policy that is pro-DEI, and those same people will say no. This just kind of shows the silly effects of the propaganda we're seeing. When asked a non-specific question, people are simply giving the answer that they are expected to say. This shows that many Americans in the West have been fooled into supporting DEI ideology without actually understanding what it is. This is a very typical sign of a pretty massive margin, and this is a pretty common theme.
Missed some
You ask
content. I
people
was
if they
checking my
support
sub box.
DEI, and a lot of people will say yes. But then you ask those same people if they support a policy that is pro-DEI, and those same people will say no. This just kind of shows the silly effects of the propaganda we're seeing. When asked a
It's like, yeah, I support Biden. Okay, did you know that Biden, helped sign in the 1994 Crime Bill Act, which a lot of people who are marginalized got put in jail for, the crimes that were on that list, in that act. A lot of, people who get charged of, different persuasions other than Caucasian getting locked up by vote for me or you ain't black. Yeah, vote for... It's like some fucking slave owner shit, it feels like. I don't know. That just sounds scary thinking about it now, but... Like, everything... When you only ever hear things after the fact and are able to add everything together, it always paints a different picture than what you're seeing in the moments. And I feel like there's a major problem where a lot of people have lost subtext and context clues and being able to parse through the past. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me noticing things that I'm rambling about. I'm probably a crazy person.
a non-specific question.
We're achieving
people
valve
give
flow
the
right
answer
now,
that
by the
they are
way.
expected to say. This shows that many Americans in the West have been fooled into supporting
How much,
DEI ideology without actually
yeah, I
understanding
didn't
what
want
it
to
is.
buy
This is
another
a very
car.
typical sign of the population that has been propagandized. It shows that there's a huge chunk of the population that has been tricked into thinking that they support something that they don't actually support. And where is that propaganda coming from? Well, the answer is pretty much everywhere. It exists in Hollywood. It exists in cable TV news. It exists in our schools, as well as in higher education and academia. And it's really not all that surprising. Curtis Yarvin's concept of the cathedral initially had nothing.
Yeah, like if anyone, like or hate right-wing people, like right-wing commentators and stuff or political commentary, but like the right-wing political commentators, there's a handful of like the big ones that'll actually like keep you decently informed if you just pay attention to the information, not really the opinions. Like, I know that's oh, don't pay attention to their opinions. Like that sounds like I guess that would sound like I'm enabling them, but it's like, I don't know. I don't wanna sound like I'm enabling. Like, you can't change what people say. Like I can't force someone to say what I want, you know? That's what I also don't like about progressivism generally. It's the forcing of an idea, irregardless if it's popular or not, with the broader public in reality. They just think it's popular because, oh well, everyone around me said it was okay, disregarding that everyone around you is probably going to have a bias towards you.
To do with the games industry. It was just about journalism plus academia.
Or something like
that.
that.
And it also exists in the law. Yeah, that's right. This is something a lot of people miss. The element of the state.
I imagine someone's gonna watch. I fully imagine afterwards someone's watching this is like, oh man, this guy's so fucking stupid. This guy must be so fucking dumb. He's probably retarded, and they'd be correct. I have autism, Asperger's syndrome specifically. Get the ass space burgers jokes out really, really quick, so we can, get this over with on the internet later on, Honestly, those jokes really were never funny. Like, South Park did it, it was funny. Everything else afterwards was not funny with it. Like, you gotta work with the joke. Oh. That's what I get for not paying attention. At least the car stayed on the track, right? Okay. 93. Okay. I can stop these. See? Easy. It's just a matter of knowing how to use the re-rail cam. Alright. Sometimes I like to reload a save. But this is not a reload save worthy moment. I can just recover.
You see, the reason the woke left tends to win culture wars and win on policy is because it's illegal for them to lose. Yep.
Freedom of speech. Yeah, freedom of speech. I think I know the argument is that freedom of speech, they have the right to say it. Yeah. They have a right to do whatever they want, and they have a right to freedom of speech, and lack of surveillance and all that shit. It's just, I think these people forget they're in the public. I think everyone needs to remember, when you're online talking and stuff and being recorded, you're in the public. If you're in the public anyway, you have a chance of being recorded. Obviously, this isn't an invitation for anyone to just go start recording anyone, but, I'm not saying that, don't do that, by the way. Just don't go up and harass people and start recording them. That's fucking weird, but, when it comes to, normal shit, yeah. But I think it's ironic, because these people, the people that are speaking, are the very same that would very much, in the opposite, just hurt you. When I, what's the quote? When I'm asking for your mercy, I will play by your rules, but when I have power, I will take the power from you. And it's something like that. Something about, begging for my rules, but you should not beg for, something under their rules. I don't know. Playing by the other side's morals, not your own. So it's essentially like that, I think.
That's right, a big portion of wokeness is law, or at the very least a legal power structure that they can very easily exploit. I've pointed this out before on my video on civil rights, but the TLDR of it is that the basis of woke ideology uses claims that unequal outcomes are discrimination in order to justify envy directed towards...
I don't agree with repealing the Civil Rights Act. That's stupid. I think you just need to socially police better. Social policing, just saying, hey, that's bad. Cancel culture is a thing. It's a word, and that there is a very much specific reason about it, the modern terming of it, I guess. But, the reason why I'm mentioning it is because... How do I describe it? Basically... Basically, the issue is getting rid of the Civil Rights Act kind of puts us back at square one. I don't know. That's the way I would put it, I guess. I feel like we would just be going back to square one, because we would end up with, Jim Crow laws and shit again. That's my concern. I'm gonna keep watching.
groups of people that have been disproportionately deemed as successful.
I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I don't agree with repealing the Civil Rights Act. I think that was put in place for a very specific reason. Now, can we rework the Civil Rights Act? Sure. That's not up to me though. I don't know how to fucking do that. I'm not a lawman. I'm no law person. I'm just a dude talking. What I like a dude talking who likes trains and shit, and is also talking politics. So he's probably gonna set a lot of people off or something. I don't know. Let's continue.
Falsely accusing them of building their success off the exclusion of others. Despite the fact that this way of thinking is demonstrably untrue, as disparate outcomes do not actually prove discrimination, the ideology is already enshrined into law regardless. And this is absolutely perfect.
Exactly. Like, the problem is the ideology is enshrined into law. They don't need to prove anything. It's that people are chasing the specter of bigotry. It feels like the bigotry specter. Because and that isn't to say, like, there actually is bigotry. Like, obviously there actually is bigotry, but, like, sometimes I call into question it because what some people deem bigotry, I don't think is bigotry, personally. You know.
Perfect for the Marxist brand of ignorance. Marx's
You know, someone's gonna watch this afterwards. I'm gonna get clipped on Twitter. I'm gonna be everywhere. Everyone's gonna be making fun of me or something. I don't know. It'll be a fun time. I'm having a good time. How long have we been going for? An hour. I've stretched a 39-minute video out into an hour by just rambling and shit. Okay.
This and discrimination fit perfectly into this framework. And you can see this in Section 7, in proving discrimination or disparate impact, that the civil rights anti-discrimination laws can be abused by these woke cultists to be legally enforced purely based on unequal outcomes. If you...
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. Like, unequal outcomes, you know, I feel like should be redefined. Like, what is an unequal outcome? You know? Like, what is and isn't an unequal outcome? Is someone being a person of color simply, you know, different color, different race. That's it. Like, oh, this and that and the other thing about, you know, crime statistics or something about how many, you know, black people get pulled over or how many something Hispanics get accused of being, I don't know. I'm not gonna I don't know the articles. I don't have them right open to me. I'm not a Nicholas Sturio. I can't just alakazam the article right onto the screen like that. I wish I could. I wish I had that level of dedication. I don't know what I was gonna call it. I was searching for a word. I was gonna call it weaponized autism for a second, but I don't know if Nick has that. I don't know if he's neurodivergent. I said the scary word. I said that word. Oh no. Anyway.
If you read it and look at establishing disparity, you will see it written, a typical disparity measure involves a comparison between the proportion of persons in the protected class who are adversely affected by the challenged practice and the proportion of persons not in the protected class who are adversely affected. This is what the law actually...
I think communists should be attacked, not for being different or their different outcome, but because of what they're proposing as the solution of that outcome. Like, that's not a good thing. Like, I'm sorry if you think communism's good. Oh, look how many deaths capitalism's killed. If you live under capitalism, you're going to be automatically biased against it because you hate the system or something.
Actually says, and it is pure Marxist insanity.
It's
they
like
can
left-wing
basically accuse any
anti-establish.
unequal outcome they see as being in violation of Section 7.
Yeah.
This is one of the big things that enables woke consulting firms to go to a company, tell them that one of their practices is having an adverse effect on a protected class, and then effectively extort the company by telling them they need to pay the consultants for guidance on how to fix the adverse effect via adopting DEI standards in their HR department, hiring diversity officers, or going back to the topic of video games, forcing inclusion and woke ideology into their story, or for major game journalist publications, only hiring journalists who hold correct trademark opinions. And then
Exactly. Like, that's also a case. Like, I would say that violates the Civil Rights Act just the same. Is hiring not hiring someone because you politically disagree with them. I think that should be protected under the Civil Rights Act, is, you know, someone's political beliefs. But that could also be twisted into, you know, some extremists getting into jobs and doing some crazy, crazy stuff. Because you can't discriminate against extremists, you know, disregard the fact that they, you know, then went on to say, I'm gonna, you know, like, I'm like, some America deserved 9/11 shit, like Hassan Piker or something. New Brunswicker, by the way. That guy is from, that guy was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey, went to Rutgers. As I like to say, he is a textbook definition letter of, silver spoon, as I like to call it. I bet he was a St. Peter's baby. I bet he was born in St. Peter's Hospital. Taking that bet right now because it's pretty big.
Of course, once Marxist activists fill the ranks of the HR department and diversity officers, they are then allowed to practice discrimination of their own, only hiring other people who subscribe to the Marxist ideas, which is another stupid thing about the way civil rights laws are enforced, as it's enforced by equity or equal outcomes, which is interesting because that doesn't actually stop discrimination. For the same reason that unequal outcomes do not prove that there is discrimination, equal outcomes don't necessarily prove that there is not discrimination. This means that a woke activist working in an HR department can discriminate against anybody who isn't also a woke activist, so long as they're sure to include an equal number of people from the protected classes. For example, they'll still
Right. Oh, hey, James O'Keefe.
hire white males, but only the ones that are fully indoctrinated with white guilt and woke ideology. This is a very important thing to understand about the extortion we see. But anyway, the point is that this gives legal backing to these consulting firms. They can not only threaten with bad press and not getting ESG funds, they can also, if push comes to shove, take things as far as an aggressive, frivolous, anti-discrimination lawsuit. Now, here's the thing. Disparate impact has been the law for just over half a century. So the wokes have had this as a nail bat for which to aggressively force their ideology onto others for a very long time. And it's even worse for multinational corporations, in this case game publishers who wish to reach a global audience, because there are even more laws like this in other countries, and they have to abide by every single one of them. When you realize this, it suddenly becomes pretty obvious why it's so easy for the far left activists
that's why I'm
win,
going to stick with
because
America.
they can just abuse the courts to
something
crabble
like
their
that.
way to victory if they need to. So what has happened as a result from this is woke activists have been able to slowly worm their way into the ranks of various institutions, from the state to academia to the media, and of course video games, which is again just one branch of the tree, and then subvert those institutions from within, increasing their ranks even further. And this is why it was more than just gaming that seemed to suddenly go woke crazy starting around the late 2000s. It infected everything from the education system to politics to Hollywood. If you think of culture as a pot and each of these components as frogs being slowly boiled, it makes perfect sense they would all
Some left winger's gonna be watching this like, he said frogs boiling in a pot, guys. He said frogs boiling in a pot. Let's get him. Let's laugh. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a progressive. I did not realize I didn't cut down these trees. Where does the spline end? Oh. Never mind. I know where the spline ends. Where does the spline end? The answer. Pretty close. I like the building tools. The new building tools are a little fickle, but I do hope that they're a little fixed up. There's some curves that just look weird. Sometimes when you're making track, it's when you're sometimes building in the free mode, in the free place mode, like this, what sometimes happens is essentially I don't know if you'll notice it here. Let me build down to up. So We are going down to up. You'll see it here. It's basically like doing this like giant. It does this like giant. Ooh, this is a good way to show it. Like that giant slope. Like you can see that. I don't know if you can see that. No, you can't actually. Wait. Let me move this. Maybe resize. Let's try a 600. Let's try that. Like you can see that, I'm pretty sure, on the recording. Yeah. On the stream. Not the recording. What you thinking about, Nico? You okay? Yeah? Now if you try to get past Tabitha and she swipes at you, just ignore her, okay? Don't listen to her. She's just a sassy lady and all. Let me deal with her. Sometimes Tabitha's a little mean to Nico. She like gets pretty defensive about Nico getting close sometimes, but that's more if like she's blocking like a doorway or something. She gets pretty fussy. But she's been very good. Well behaved for months, weeks, more or less. Like you would have to agitate her to get her to swipe or paw at you or bite or anything. So, I love her. Nice cat. Maybe maybe next stream. Let me see if I can actually find. Hold on, I think I have a picture actually. Do I have a picture of the cat? Yeah. Okay, this is a little old, but I found this on my Discord. So let me just put that. Oh, that is on stream. Okay. Look at that cat. That's my cat. I love her. She's nice. In her own way, she's nice. But, back to the video. I also have this to watch afterwards, but, I just wanted to watch this on stream. You know, just to do a test stream and just play a game. Maybe next time, what I'm thinking is, like, I want to stream Deep Rock. I have Deep Rock Galactic. I want to stream that, but I also want to stream Raid World War II, which, if anyone doesn't know me, for anyone who doesn't know me, I really am like a diehard fan and supporter of Raid World War II. You might know Raid Shadow Legends, but have you heard of Raid World War II? The answer is no. You probably haven't, because it's a payday light. I would call it a 4-player co-op that is made by developers who are known for working on Payday. Mostly Ilya. Like, the first one that comes to mind is straight up Ilya. Like, LGL, I think, used to be bigger, but first person that comes to mind in terms of, you know, Raid World War II development is Ilya. Just because he was more or less the project lead, I think. If I remember right. Yay, 65.
All die around the same time. So what we really saw happen around the 2010s is that these activists simply reached a large enough portion of the ranks to the point where they can effectively control society through a moral framework that they define and control. A very good example of this abuse of civil rights laws can be seen in how they've gotten enough woketoids who have wormed their way into academia to have created an entirely new definition of racism that, interestingly enough, completely contradicts the colloquial definition of racism.
Yes! Okay, I can say this. It's prejudice plus power. Alright? Right? The prejudice plus power. Shit. Racial prejudice plus institutionalized power plus, power or whatever is so fucking intellectually dishonest, in my opinion. It is a very intellectually dishonest thing. And it's because I think that, you're like Mentis is saying here, you're changing the definition of racism. You're changing, and not only that, you're actually ruining, you're ruining literacy, but by that very extent, by the understanding of definitions, you're ruining that as well. Because there already is such thing as prejudice plus power, the definition of prejudice plus institutionalized power, that already exists. Like, that already exists. Like, institutional racism is already a definition. It's, racism from the institutions, as easy as described, like a government or an educational body or a business, a company. Like you get it. Let's continue.
Average layman views racism as just ethnic prejudice, which logically concludes that ethnic collective guilt is at the root of the problem. However, in the Cathedrelite definition, they use prejudice plus power to be the definition of racism, which logically concludes that collective guilt is a good thing. And here's where the gigantic grift comes in. These activists who have wormed their way into positions of power and influence will equivocate between these two definitions. They will imply...
I hate this so much. Like... It's so true. So that's why I'm like, I hate this so much, because it's true. It's like, yeah, I don't like this. It's like, I hate the intellectually dishonest take that everyone who... That, like, I feel like the people who say grifter are more grifters than actual, grifters at times. There are people who will spout the word grifter that are that very thing. I'm not gonna lie, like, chase the bag that you want, but, like, chase the bag you want, just be honest. Like, that's what people are gonna find out about me through this VOD I get, when this is uploaded as a VOD, is, just be honest, be truthful with who you are, and, let people judge you based on that, in my opinion.
That if you don't support their equity policies, then that means you must hate minorities and be a racist. But that doesn't make any sense. That's using both these definitions as if they are one. Because equity policies are based on the idea that collective guilt is good, which they are treating as exactly the same thing as simply ethnic prejudice.
I hate this about leftists, too, as well. Like, not liberals. I don't know if it's just liberals. Like, it's not liberals, probably. It's, like, more... This is more talking about, like, extremism, and I'm more... in my head talking about this through the lens of talking about extremists and saying I don't like extremists of any kind. And if you interpret that as, oh, you must be, why aren't you distancing and saying that you hate the far right? The far right would fucking kill me. Like, the far right would fucking hate me if the moment they found out I have fucking Jewish family, right? How many fucking times will I get called things if I just came out and said I was Jewish to them, right? How many times will I get called a kike or something like that? Like, for just having Jewish family. Like, I'm not necessarily religious myself. Like, I'm not necessarily Jewish. I've attended, like, ceremony, like, recently, like, my cousin had a bat mitzvah. One of my cousins had a bat mitzvah. And we went there. And we attended the service more because, at this temple. More because we wanted to, you know, pay respect to the religion, pay respect to Judaism, pay respect to the ceremony that was going on. And that's really why we went. Like, we didn't go because we have Jewish blood. No. We went because, you know, we wanted to pay respect. Like, that's what my ma did. That's what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't really want to go to a temple. I didn't really want to go to the, you know, bat mitzvah. You know, later in the day, I was actually stressed, but, like, that's life. Like, I don't know. And maybe, you know, me saying, like, obviously me saying all this, like, PII, like, personal identifiable information and shit. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if someone's going to be able to go, yes, this guy is located, here and here, right there. Yeah. Now we have his exact location because we have been able to pinpoint this, that, and the other thing. It's like, I don't want to get doxxed. I don't like doxing. Doxing is bad. That's really all I got. Like, I don't know what you expect. But like that's like something I say a lot, by the way. That's really all I got if I'm talking. Like, if I don't got much else to add about something and I'm just like stammering, it's like that's really all I got. You know, I don't got much else to say. Like, I tend to say repeat words a lot, and again, you figure this out if you watch me stream. But yeah, let's continue watching.
Prejudice, which views collective guilt as bad. Remember what I said earlier about how the general public...
Right. Like, I hate this when people say, like, oh, you know, white people are related to slave owners, like, ignoring the fact that white people can come over after, like, immigrants from Europe can come over here after slavery had ended, and, you know, Europeans ethnically, initially, were more Caucasian. I mean, now it's a little different. It's more of a melting pot, but in the 60s, when my parents came here, when my grandparents on my ma's side said, hey, on one of my parents' sides said, hey, you know, we're going over here. You know, like, that's just how it is. But like, I wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't be here as a result of that. Like, my mom says otherwise, obviously, because she's her. But yeah.
will say that they agree with DEI only because they don't actually know what DEI is. Well, this is how. Because woke activists are not actually honest with what they believe. They know that their ideas are fundamentally unpopular, so they deliberately contradict them.
I can't wait for people to watch this back and be like, what is bro saying? Like, this bro sounds like he's fucking dumb or something with some of the stuff he says. Like, the way I say things, I think, you know, just hearing it in my head. Like, I don't like my own voice in my head. Like, I don't know, there's like some problem I have with it, but I do like, I don't know. I need to stop talking about myself. I need to be quiet and watch the video.
Themselves and obfuscate their ideology for the sake of optics. And sadly, it's
2 hours of me just
People
rambling.
fall for this equivocation all the time. It's easy to see through it once you understand how it works. For example, if you watch someone like Ayanna Pressley talk for more than an hour, you'll pretty much see it at least a few times. But again, that's only if you know how it works. Which again, most people do not know because again, the woke activists have been infiltrating the education system for over 50 years. Were you taught how to spot Marxist equivocation fallacies in school? No? None of your teachers went over that? Yeah, exactly. Another big problem is...
Yeah, like, no one really, like, English classes were more read this thing than, okay, class, here we're going to teach you about what's a logical fallacy.
Cronyist financial systems like ESG. Environmental social governance is a topic
things that you would
use its
encounter
own
in your
extremely
day-to-day
long
life
video.
as
So I'll just go over the points that are
person.
relevant here. Problem with it is that it is an investment metric that uses diversity, equity, and inclusion as one of its metrics. Basically, it's just a way for people who bow down to DEI to get money. And the problem with that is that ESG is an example of cronyism. It does not actually get its funds from a voluntary exchange within the free market. Rather, instead, it is funded through a partnership between the state and very large private managers, such as BlackRock or Vanguard.
I hate these two. These two suck. I hate this company. Just putting that out there. There's a lot of companies that they've both like bought up in terms of hedge funds. Like in terms of like investing. Like these companies are made up of like former government people, I think. I think BlackRock is. And I think it's like they use the political influence to, you know, get rich and shit. I think it's something like that.
The best explanation of this comes from the Mises Institute. The first hint that something is wrong is the fact that many of these companies who are going for these investments are motivated by government subsidies. This means that ESG is actually much worse than most people realize, because to some degree your tax dollars are actually paying for it.
They're also the 200 series, or the log cars of the 200 series. What would the I'm trying to think. What would the so this is the 100 series, yep. This is the 500 series, right? Yeah. So oh yeah, that's right. I was going to number the passenger cars, the 300 series and the steak flats. Let me see if I can find them. These, the 400 series. Keep looking over to my left, seeing the link in chat, and like, oh, someone talk? No, that's just me. So I have a text document open with like a bunch of abbreviations for the railroad names and stuff. So like I have the other two saves. I might if I stream railroads online again, I'll probably show them. But let me open these up. This one is called the Frick is called the Fulton Rock and Iron Creek Railway. That's the context.
Motivated into ESG investing through regulation. The way this happens is quite complex. So here's a quick clip from a Mises podcast that explains the relevant bits.
The other thing that you see with these...
Sorry to whoever's watching this back, including myself. You're probably really upset over like all the mistakes like being made and stuff. So, you know, I'm just gonna say that right now. And I don't know what else to say. I apologize a lot.
These institutional investors and risk is that they say, well, one of the risks that we're trying to mitigate against is regulatory risk, and you should anticipate government regulations in these areas, and that's something that's risk to your business. And they're telling you that on the one hand, and then they go on the other hand with their lobbyists, and guess what? They're lobbying for regulations. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, you better watch out for these risks. Meanwhile, I'm going to pay all these lobbyists to try to make those risks a reality. So there's a lot of just underhanded activity going on at that level.
So, yep, as it turns out, ESG is just a big fat scam that tries to masquerade itself as legitimate investing, when in reality, it's just political games. There's also an interesting study from Santa Clara Journal of
I'm
International
not even
Law,
surprised. Like, I didn't understand what that dude was saying in that clip, but it's just like, let's listen to that again, right? Where's that? Start.
Institutional investors.
Explains the relevant bits.
The other thing that you see with these institutional investors and risk is that they say, well, one of the risks that we're trying to mitigate against is regulatory risk, and you should anticipate government regulations in these areas, and that's something that's risk to your business. And they're telling you that on the one hand, and then they go on the other hand with their lobbyists, and guess what? They're lobbying for regulations. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, you better watch out for these risks. Meanwhile,
yeah, it's like, man, those you should get bandit protection. It's like, oh my god, it's like that one quest in New Vegas where you enter Freeside and there's that one guard There's that one person who's like a bodyguard or something. I think you investigate with the kings. I don't. It's been a while since I played New Vegas. I know. Heresy. If you're not a New Vegas fan or something, you know, or if you're a fan of New Vegas, you know, someone's probably screaming at me like heretic or something funny, because I should play New Vegas more. I've only ever done one playthrough. I need to play through all the factions or something. I don't know. Need to do everything in the game. Like I don't think they're saying that, but I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun.
Well, I'm going to pay all these lobbyists to try to make those risks a reality. So there's a lot of just underhanded activity going on.
I don't think anyone's really saying that, so I'm not looking at chat, by the way. Again, no one's really here, but I'm not looking at chat. Level. This is a test stream.
So, yeah.
Anyone who tunes in, you know, hi. Yeah. I don't know what you're expecting. I'm just watching a video.
As it turns out, ESG is just a big fat scam that tries to masquerade itself
next
as
time I might
investing.
Not. I'm thinking next time maybe I'll just play a game. Like if people want to watch me watch a video in chat or something, like I'll do the fucking Nick DiOrio Bo Blacks type fucking common like reaction stream type thing where I'm reacting to drama or something. Like I would love to. I don't know. I would love to do that. I guess. I'm just thinking out loud. But let's get back to it.
Reality, it's just political games. There's also an interesting study from Santa Clara Journal of International Law which concluded that government laws and regulations are the more likely driver of the boom in ESG investing, which is a particularly interesting study. There's also an interesting study from Santa Clara Journal of International Law which concluded that government laws and regulations are the more likely driver of the boom in ESG investing, which is a particularly interesting study because it looked at more than just the United States. It also looked at various European countries. The extremely close ties to the state of large investment management companies like BlackRock further confirmed the suspicions that this kind of cronyist scam is definitely happening in backroom deals.
I agree. I feel like there's a lot of stuff in the government that we don't know goes on, that if the public found out, like like in terms of capitalism, like in terms of the free market and shit, like it would entirely flip the free market. Because the free market isn't really free or something. I'm not a financial economist. I'm not an economist or anything. I'm not someone who understands that, so I can't tell you more. You know, I recommend going to someone who knows.
With the relationship strong that BlackRock is often called investment management companies like BlackRock further confirmed the suspicions that this kind of cronyist scam is definitely happening in backroom deals, with the relationship being so strong that BlackRock is often called a fourth branch of the United States government. A big one being how BlackRock is regularly hired to manage the assets of the Federal Reserve, effectively rendering them too big to fail, effectively ensuring that they will always have funds available at the backup of the Fed money printer Bill Burr. These same firms then have a lobbying and revolving door relationship with the state, where they can partake in cronyism where they lobby for rules that directly benefit their investment strategy. And because they manage these assets, they also have direct command over how ESG funds are allocated, which then controls the general market, of which again, gaming is just a small part. The government then passes regulations and
that has not gone down. That's concerning.
Making it
why is the water in the boiler not gone down?
Investments are a legitimate component of the free market to people who aren't paying full attention. You can think of it as them using private companies as a proxy for them to circumvent the Constitution.
Okay, well, I need to go back. I was completely off guard. I'm not good at this. I'm sorry. I'm still new. Early days or something.
Interesting study because it looked at more than just the United States. It also looked at various European countries. The extremely close ties to the state of large investment management companies like BlackRock.
Yeah. I feel like it's not just that you need to look at America. You need to look at Europe as well, because a lot of games that are developed by Europeans are played by a lot of people, like Minecraft, Deep Rock Galactic, to name it again, to name drop it again, Metro Exodus, Payday, all of fucking Payday, pretty much, is developed by Swedish people.
BlackRock further confirmed the suspicions that this kind of cronyist scam is definitely happening in backroom deals, with the relationship being so strong that BlackRock is often called a fourth branch of the United States government. The big one being how BlackRock is regularly hired to manage the assets of the Federal Reserve, effectively rendering them too big to fail, effectively ensuring that they will always have funds available at the backup of the Fed money printer go burr. These same
I feel like the federal government, I feel like we need to get money out of politics, and the federal government, the Federal Reserve is a mistake. Shout out to, I have not watched it in a while, but Timcast, Ian Crossland. I'm shouting out a lot of names, like, hey guys, random nobody on the internet here. I like this person. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
firms then have a lobbying and revolving door relationship with the state, where they can partake in cronyism where they lobby for rules that directly benefit their investment strategy. And because they manage these assets, they also have direct command over how ESG funds are allocated, which then controls the general market, of which, again, gaming is just a small part. The government then passes regulations and grants subsidies based on the ESG metrics, making it a self-fulfilling prophecy, which makes it look like ESG investments are a legitimate component of the free market to people who aren't paying full attention. You could think of it as them using private companies as a proxy for them to circumvent the Constitution. And then, of course, these laws directly control the market as well. While this is all an oversimplification, it is in a nutshell how the ESG scam operates. It is a deeply authoritarian system that tries to masquerade itself as a legitimate free market investment system.
So we got Federal Reserve Bank right here. Money printer go burr. See the money printer. Too big to fail. Asset management. We're too big to... Okay, so now we got money printer go burr. Direct influence on the government. Yep, the Federal Reserve has a direct influence on the government. Yep. And then from the government to BlackRock, you've got BlackRock and Vanguard. You've got lobbying, revolving door, and backroom deals. Yep. And so you've got regulation going to the Federal Reserve. Yep. But you don't have, you have BlackRock here, yeah, you got BlackRock, Vanguard, so and with what was just said, we know, okay, they're too big to fail, right? So, these companies are too big to fail because they just keep getting money, they keep getting money from their investments, How does that happen? So now they got money from the Federal Reserve, they got access to this printer, basically. So, in my opinion, I would not be surprised if a lot of... There's a part of me that's concerned that some inflation is caused by, this company, these two companies. But, and I feel like anyone's going to call me a conspiracy theorist for that, but it's just like, it's a theory. It's not true. It's not true. I don't think it's true, but then you got the cult of woke here, right? Urgh. These guys have a direct influence on the ESG because it's basically their money. They're the companies that give you the money. That's why we've seen BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and all them, is probably because they're being used as proxies by ideology to, they're being used as proxies by ideology to more or less push agendas in the government or push agendas in society, basically acting as a branch of government in of itself. A secret branch of government, as it were. I don't like that. Obviously, I don't like that. I think that we need to take out all of this. This should not be in American politics. We need to make all of these illegal, in my opinion. All three of these. Right? Random nobody opinion, right? Glump Shido opinion right here, right? But, regulations, subsidiaries based on ESG metrics, self-fulfilling prophecy. So, yeah. We've got the regulations going to control the markets. Oh, shit. Oh, wait. Wrong track. Pay attention, Simon. You're driving a train.
In fact, it is just a scheme to push the idea.
So the control is supposed to be the market, I guess it's supposed to be, capitalism and shit. basically, the idea is that I guess what this is trying to more or less say is that these people have a direct impact on these because of the regulations and laws being passed, which obviously yes, but then you run into the direct influence of the cult of woke, as this person describes it, having an impact on people. I guess because it's not necessarily an ideology. I don't know. I guess it isn't. I would tie it with communism just because intersectionalism tends to default that. Nico is licking my hand. There is a dog licking my hand. I'm not complaining about this. I actually like this guy. This guy is adorable. This guy's good, dog. He's a best friend. Yes, he is. Okay, back to the video.
Ideas of the cathedral onto the general populace without people noticing. And lastly, the final thing I need to point out here on how the cult of woke gained so much power is the utter uselessness of the boomer conservatism within the Republican Party. The Republicans could have and should have done something to these rules and regulations, rolling them back.
Yeah, basically, I feel like the problem with Republicans is a lot of Republicans are more about reacting and more about commentating about what things are happening and telling everyone that things are happening rather than doing things publicly. Like, they don't say they're going to do things, it seems like. Also, Railroads Online, just, by the way, fun fact, found out that this is based off the dredge at on the Sumter Valley Railway. So that's cool. This is based off a real thing. Obviously it's based off a real thing, but side tangents about the train game.
Either fully eliminating or at least reducing them.
By the way, Sumter Valley Railway, my favorite fucking line, because they had the very, very... I use this for my sensor screen right now. I have this as the quick sensor image. That's Sumter Valley 251. So the Sumter Valley was a 3-foot gauge line, right? The Uinta Railway was also a 3-foot gauge line. So basically, the story here goes like these locomotives, right here on the screen. That's like, that's the baby. That's my kid. I like them. I value those things. I am upset that these things did not get preserved because these were really, really cool, in my opinion. Like, this was simple articulated. A lot of information online apparently points... Like, there's misinformation saying that this is a Mali. But I think there's a lot of misinformation about Malleys in general, from what I understand. Because this isn't compounding the steam. Like, there's two throttles for each wheel set. Is what I'm understanding from what I understand from people, or from what people have said. Yeah. But there is actually, I think, a cab image. Let me see if I can grab it. There's actually a cab image from the Sumter Valley. I don't know if anyone afterwards who's more in-depth and actually been in the cab can tell. But, let's, like you can see here, that is a cab, all right. That is a cab. The image I specifically grabbed. I downloaded this offline. I grabbed it and nabbed it through Wayback Machine, but this used to be on the Sumter Valley Archives. Very, very easy thing to access. Used to be very easy to access. I guess they might be doing some reworking of that. I don't know. But essentially, this is supposed to be the cab of think it's 251. I might be wrong. Yeah. I think this is supposed to be 251's cab. Anyway, look at that now. That's 251 again. Look at her. She's just doing her job. She's just doing her job. What are you expecting? Look at him go. My baby. Not really. Like, that's metal. It's not really my baby, and I never worked on it, so... Anyway, there... remove that.
In order to prevent the far left from exploiting them to gain so much power.
Gaming
Instead,
is
Republican politicians
bad.
basically sat on their butts doing
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely
Like,
nothing
honestly,
for decades.
that whole
as the far left abused.
Like, it's because of conservatives we have the ESRB, by the way, I think. The ESRB was put in place because so many people got upset and offended over video games being violent or something like that. That, you know, ESRB just sort of came about after Mortal Kombat because, oh no! Mortal Kombat! I mean, I can't really protest more for... I can't really say, you know, oh, that's bad. They should never have put ESRB in place. Like, no. Like, ESRB has its place. Like, I think there's a reason ESRB came about. But, like... Nico just loves licking me. He just wants attention. He's okay, though. He's a good dog. He's, like, right under my desk. He's just vibing. Wish I had cameras so I could show this right now. He's adorable. But I think if I had cameras too, I'd get comments about my room being a mess. 'Cause it is. I need to clean it up a little bit. A lot. I need to clean it up a lot. But anyway, back to video.
Use these legal and financial power structures in order to advance a Marxist agenda. So not only does the far-left woke activists win the culture war because of their financial and legal backing, but they also effectively have zero competition. They occasionally do a little bit. For example, the Daily Wire recently came out in favor of Gamergate 2.0. But it's still done in a way that's relatively milquetoast, and it's basically too little too late. So, in a nutshell, Marxists and woke ideologues abused every single power structure they could get their grubby little hands on in order to gain entry into academia, journalism, and ultimately politics. All the while, conservatives sat and watched, doing absolutely nothing to remove the parasites multiplying under their feet, until we have now reached a point where anyone working in the media, be it gaming or whatever, now has to bow down and kiss the ring of these parasites in order to survive in their kakistocracy. So now that you know how the prestige-seeking racket works and how it came to exist, suddenly a lot of these scandals of gaming and games journalism in recent times make a lot more sense, and it becomes possible to blaze through them much faster without really sacrificing any understanding, as it becomes painfully obvious that many of them were totally expected, to the point of them really being inevitable. So in this next section of the video, I'll just go over some of these scandals to show you what I mean. And we'll start with the Sweet Baby incident, which a lot of content creators have already gone over in extreme detail. But here's a quick rundown. Various gamers discovered that this consulting firm, Sweet Baby Inc., was using its influence in order to inject woke ideology into multiple AAA gaming studios. And because the CEO has a big mouth, she accidentally admitted that one of their tactics was to effectively threaten their marketing teams in order to get what they want. It was also discovered that Sweet Baby was tied to getting ESG investments into the games industry, turning the companies into sellouts for a massive woke propaganda network connected
Work with this company to, you know, advance what we want, you know? Or else we're gonna be mean and call and make slanderous lies up about you and call out your wrongdoers that you don't know exist, but we know exist. How do we know they exist?
to hundreds of corporations and political bureaucrats. The CEO also pulled the classic criticism equals harassment grift, falsely accusing gamers who were boycotting.
It's Chris Kindred! I hate that guy.
The game Sweet Baby Inc. had a hand
I have nothing but hate
harassment,
vitriol
which is a
towards
pretty
to
typical
say about
woke
that guy.
ideologue tactic. to play victim and cry bully when in fact they
Or
are
laugh
the
at.
victims. Now, if game
I'd
journalists
laugh at
were
him like
honest,
Cartman.
this massive web of corporate corruption and money from
Something like that.
ill-gotten gains being funneled into pushing propaganda for a political ideology into the games industry would be a scandal worthy of widespread coverage. But of course, the problem is major game journalist publications are all part of the companies that have parent companies with financial ties to PR firms and asset managers and corporations who are a part of this network, who are part of the cathedral, who are part of the regime. So of course, publications such as Kotaku and IGN gave extremely biased, one-sided takes that deliberately obfuscated the facts.
Exactly.
With the one from Kotaku being
Like, the problem I have with people is like, oh no, there's no actual problems. Like, here's the actual problems with the games industry. Like, yes, those are problems too. How do you think, why do you think there is so much spending? Because people are going to these companies and saying, hey, give me money or else. Or else what? Or else I will use my power and influence and words to get you to do what I want. It is manipulation tactics, right? And like, I'm not saying that, you know, no one does manipulation tactics. Like, the right can never do manipulation tactics. They can, but this is not what's happening right now. This is happening. Like, Sweet Baby Inc. being fucking glazed over by journos, that's a problem. Like, being basically glazed as, oh, they're just fighting racism, and if you hate them, you're racist. Disregarding the fact that their definition of racism already is very different from ours. Like, the normal definition that everyone uses is racial, you know, prejudice against someone's race or ethnicity, you know? But their definition is, like, racial prejudice and institutionalized power, which is not really racism, that's institutional racism. I will say this multiple times. The description of racial prejudice plus institutionalized power is one-to-one just the definition of institutional racism. It's just when racism is in an institution. That's what institutional racism is. It's not that hard. What's going on in chat? Nothing. Of course.
especially deranged and unhinged, as it attempted to trick readers into thinking that the claim that Sweet Baby Inc. was responsible for injecting woke ideology into games was somehow a conspiracy theory, despite the fact that this is something that Sweet Baby Inc. admits to doing.
Yeah, how can it be a conspiracy? For it to be a theory, it needs to not be proven. I think this is proven. I think this is proof.
On the front page of their own website.
Like, that's
And then
not
you might wonder,
evidence,
how
that's
did
proof.
Kotaku expect to get away with this kind of insane lie? Well, simple really. They used the weasel word solely in their article, which is
Solely?
technically true. Sweet Baby Inc. is not solely responsible for the propaganda. Rather,
It's a
they are
weasel.
just one part of a massive pipeline, and just one of the many consulting firms pushing woke ideology in a massive ocean of piss. So then, of course, Kotaku uses this pedantically correct statement to then say whatever lies they want, and then
Of course. You know, that's how it works. You know, you get them on one thing, now you can get them on the other things that they actually won you over with. Or they actually beat you with. And proved that they were correct on.
then pretend that the entire scandal wasn't happening, which is of course completely insane and absolutely unhinged gaslighting, and also totally expected journoid behavior. I mean, honestly, it would have been more surprising if they told the truth of this matter. This is partially why I personally haven't really made very many videos on this subject. The Sweet Baby incident is really just an unsurprising, expected result of the corruption and rot that has again been boiling for decades.
There
These
are
publications
multiple
all
other
have
consulting firms, by the way. Other than Sweet Baby Inc., it's just Sweet Baby Inc. is the most recognizable because they're the powder keg of this is happening, and people are still trying to say this isn't happening. No, I think it's happening. I'm pretty sure it's happening. What do you think, Nico? I think Nico says it's happening. I can't speak dog, but he's looking at me and he's saying it's happening as well.
corporate financial ties or parent
Obviously
companies with
not.
financial
Obviously, he's
political
not
ties to
saying
the
that.
greater
He's a
regime.
dog.
People working for
But-
these publications therefore obviously cannot publish facts which
cut
make
these
their
trees. I
masters
just realized
look
I
bad
did
without
not
risk of getting fired. So
cut
dishonest
every tree
articles like
down
these being pushed out over
when,
various
when doing
scandals in the
this.
gaming industry is just expected. A good piece further proving that this is the case came from a tweet from Niche Gamer, which aside from a few internal scandals is one of the few actual responsible gaming news publications, due largely in part due to them being one of the few that tries to operate outside of the regime, and thus they are one of the few publications that consistently somewhat tells the truth about these scandals. And this little tweet from them kind of
What does this say? Well, we do agree with the base sentiment of gaming companies overplaying their hands per se. Unfortunately, we can't cover this particular story or more stories like it without potentially getting punished by the PR firms hired by those same gaming companies who we have to rely on to get access to video games for review and coverage purposes. Ranging from smaller devs to mid-size operations to even AAA game. Okay, guys. Who's the real cabal, guys? Who's got the real power in the industry here? Like, tell me. I think ESG has way too much power, in my opinion. I feel like for the sake of equity, like, equity is such a bullshit thing. I hate equity, right? I actually hate equity. It is not equality. It is equity in the like, I don't hate equity in the sense that I hate all equity. No. I hate equity as it is in the moment. Like, this is awful. Like, what I'm reading here is basically, trash. Is basically, this is a group. Like, what I'm reading basically is that this is a group that is leveraging its influence to blacklist people who simply disagree with them or ask a question. Like, that's my perspective as an outsider. Okay, so because a lot of those same PR people support the people who holds these similar views, like what Elon is referring to here, we're already having significant issues and experiencing roadblocks regarding getting access to AAA titles because we have covered Sweet Baby Inc. stories alone. It's quite... Yes. Okay. I hate Sweet Baby Inc. I just hate him. I don't got anything else. I just hate him. I think that if you really wanted equality in the industry, those types of groups are not the ones that can do it, simply because I think they are started and founded by people who suck. That's enough boiler tilt, I think, to, like, blow up. That's enough boiler tilt to blow up an engine, I think. Like, you just tilt that, the firebox crown sheet gets exposed long enough for cured your headache for your hands. I do have to play Raid.
kind of lays out the whole thing. They can't risk telling the truth about the
I love
regime
that
too
game.
hard
It is
without potentially
awesome.
getting punished by
Or
some
not
PR
awesome, but it's
firms that are
fun.
hired by the same game companies.
Like, I like
because they
the
rely on
work
them
that's
for
gone
access
into it,
journalism.
and yeah, I feel like the problem is there's a lot of people in the journalist industry, in games journalism, who probably actually do agree with sentiments like they hate Sweet Baby Inc. and stuff, but they can't speak up about it because these progressives are in the office breathing down everyone's neck and preventing anyone from doing anything that they might actually want to do, because heaven forbid someone do something that the single person in the office doesn't like, because some other people might not be happy, right? You know, Nico, like us. Turns out when you are marketing a product to people, you actually have to care about what the people have to say. I know that's a big shocker to some developers, but you know, work with me. Don't actually work with me. I'm not actually a consulting firm. Like just work with me in terms of like the idea. All right, let's see. That's good.
And again, it's largely due to ideological capture of these media institutions. And so again, it would be more surprising if this kind of scheme was not happening. This kind of corruption is just expected gaming industry behavior, and will remain as such as long as the power structures which allow the activist entryism remain in place. Another scandal is the one where it is also frequently discovered that journoids from these companies review games based on adherence to correct trademark ideology and connections as opposed to the quality of the game, such as what some of the journoids did to Stellar Blade and Hogwarts Legacy. Again, this should of course
Unsurprising. Remember, guys, just because a game journalist says something does not make it true. Someone says something online, someone says something on the internet, that doesn't make everything said on the internet factual, right? Someone says something factual on the internet, that doesn't make everything said on it factual, right? I think anyone with a functioning brain, let alone even a stoned out brain, could probably understand that, right? That you don't have to agree with the writing in something if the product itself is good. I don't know what I'm thinking. I completely forgot what I said. But like, yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is, like, if you are upset with something but the game is really good, like, I have not played Stellar Blade. Let me be clear. I have not played Stellar Blade. I have just heard it is a very fun game. So take for that, you know. Take for that what you will, but anyway, I'm gonna keep watching. Like, Hogwarts Legacy, I had not played Hogwarts Legacy, but it's just like some of the things I heard people who never would play Hogwarts Legacy say about it, or things about Power World even, like, oh my god, all the people who, like, comparing Power World to Pokemon and saying, see, the models look like this, therefore that must mean they're based off of it or something. Or, see, inspiration was taken, therefore, and the models match up close, so therefore that must mean that they were modeled off of it. And it's like, you gotta just blink a few times and just go, like, what? Like, they must be modeled off of it. Let's, like, ignoring their own personal biases. Like, someone who's like, oh, Power World glorifies animal abuse or something. Pokemon. In just right there. Am I a joke to you? Like, hey, Pikachu used Thunderbolt on that Powell. And then Pikachu uses Thunderbolt, and then the Power World guy's like, why'd you do that, dude? Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't like your. I don't know. I'm gonna stop doing the voice. I'm gonna stop doing the voice. I'm probably, like, super annoying. Like, someone's probably gonna watch this in the future, and it's like, holy crap, this guy's annoying. Like, I make a lot of observations, I guess. I don't know. I'm very insecure. I'm just gonna say that, I guess.
surprise no one. Woke ideology is inherently kakistocratic. In order to work for this propaganda network, you either have to be philosophically illiterate enough to actually believe this nonsense, or be dishonest enough to pretend that you believe in it in order to seek prestige within the network of woke. And thus, it is entirely unsurprising that most journoids are either likely to be fools, or grifters, or a little of both. Because in order to work at the heart of this industry, you almost have to be one. And so, of course, many of their reviews are either very stupid or based on undisclosed backroom deals, because again, the industry has become kakistocratic. Another related scheme to this is journoids like
Money.
The Verge
Money.
whining about Japanese games not being woke enough, and thus giving an idiotic and ideologically motivated review to Final Fantasy XVI. The reason Japan tends to be more
So the amazing Wojaks used in this. Reset era. Reset era. Reset era is funny.
or resistant to the woke
As in
cathedral
I
is
like
actually
making fun of
somewhat
it.
interesting. Japan doesn't have the same moronic disparate impact legislation as the West has, which means one of the key power structures that Marxists have used to gain entry is missing, and thus their attempts at hijacking Japanese media industry have been much slower. This is why when you do see a Japanese game bow down to the woke regime, it's usually due to outside financial pressure from the global stage. When you understand that this is why the journoid words have less influence on Japan, it makes perfect sense as to why these journoids tend to see that Japanese devs but then get confused when they are simply ignored. Because here's the thing, most woke ideologues actually do not understand what I've been saying in this video. Again, the cathedral is not a conspiracy theory. It is just the natural result of ideological capture. Another scandal
Right,
recently
it's not a
discovered was that
right.
Take This
Like, I think it's important to note, this isn't like some conspiracy theory shit. This is like, this is more just human nature coming out and being analyzed and understood by other humans with their own human nature. You know? I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know. What am I... If I don't know, why am I talking?
This was allegedly getting government grants in order to push the false victimhood narrative about Gamergate, a narrative which I already debunked a long time ago. Again, totally unsurprising,
Interesting.
totally expected.
I might
Once
have
you
to give that
understand
video
how
a
the state
watch
funds the
another
cathedral
time
of
on my own time. You can watch that if you want. I'm not gonna continue streaming after this. But I just want to finish watching
things
this
like
up.
this should come across as little more than news that the establishment, as it turns out, is still in control, and is still circulating false narratives, which are then canonized as true in the resulting mainstream media circle jerk. And no, they're not going to stop lying about.
Alright, mainstream games, soft sell white supremacy. There's a lack of industry diversity, privileged white male gamer, and gendered misogyny. Hardcore male gamers and the manosphere. Here's a red pill. Gamergate. Normalizing extremist discourse and ideology. The clown. Like normalizing pedophilia or whatever, apparently. Like, obviously that's not the whole LGBT, like, that's not all progressives, but there's enough out there that's like, you should probably, like, self-police. You know, self-policing is always a great thing, you know? Extremist evangelization. I've seen this so much. Twitter is this. This is just Twitter right here. Extremist evangelization. That's what I see on X. You know, that's what I see on Twitter X. Or whatever it is. Then they say mainstream games sell software. Yeah, this is just basically like a vicious cycle. Yeah, that's a
Mainstream media circle
good
jerk.
way to describe
And no,
it.
they're not going to stop.
Like calling hardcore gamers or gamers in general incels, right? That's part of this. That's entirely part of this. Like calling, like I probably would get called an incel, and I think that's not entirely incorrect, but it's just like, it's incorrect for different reasons. It's not correct because, oh, he must ideologically think that way. Like, if we are going by that logic, then I can throw that right back at you. Like, you're progressive, so you're just ideologically thinking that way or whatever, you know. It's a don't dish out what can be thrown back at you, right?
Stop lying about it. They are never going to stop falsely accusing people they don't like of harassment and sexism and whatnot, because again, that is how this regime maintains its power. They play the victim and then circulate the false victim narrative until it becomes canonized as true. This also explains why Wikipedia continued to be useless within the Sweet Baby Ink controversy, producing yet again another useless, biased article which regurgitates a false narrative that gamers are engaged in some kind of harassment campaign.
You see, if Destiny was reading Wikipedia, like, no, I'm kidding. You can tell my allegiances whenever I talk, I guess. You can tell where I am in the, it's like, see, this is just Wikipedia. This is just Wikipedia being Wikipedia. Like, I have a serious issue personally with Wikipedia being very biased. Like, go look at the article on James O'Keefe. That's it. Just go look at the article on James O'Keefe. Or something on Tim Pool or Andy No or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna go and sit here and browse Wikipedia. Oh, no. Wait. I have a train example for this. This is old. This got fixed. But the K-37 used to have a very this is very interesting. There was a conspiracy theory? Alright, where is it? It's 20, yeah. Oh my god. Where is it? Here it is. So this was the first, right? So we got a difference right here. This is this revision. So I'm going to use Wikipedia here for this, but as an example. But this is the revision history of the Denver and Rio Grande Western K-37 for the 10 people that already know the locomotive because they clicked on this video or something. And they probably know trains like me. Yeah. Let's look at the modern article. This is what it reads now, right? This is obviously what it reads now. This is correct. So we'll read this first part. Burnham Shops was assisted in the construction of them by Steam Rogers Manufacturing Company. The class used components recycled from Baldwin Locomotive Works. Built Class 190s, later C41s under the Denver and Rio Grande Western 280s. So these were consolidations from the Rio Grande standard gauge, reboilered, reusing the boiler tender and other components salvaged from the C41s. So, and it's saying that the only new components were the valve gear and the frames, basically. I think it's the frames that are new, because the C41 frame would not fit on this. Like this is an outside frame. The C41 would have been an inside frame, if I remember right. But let's look back at the revision history here. We are looking for... where was it again? 2022? 21? So this is the article right after. The tenders were converted from standard gauge. Yes. This is what it said before. There's probably someone screaming while they read this. There's probably someone who works with this thing. Not necessarily 491, but for maybe not necessarily 491, but any of the other 490 numbered locomotives. 49X numbered locomotives. They were renumbered into the class C41. Yep. During the railroad's reorganization in 1924, they were converted to... Ew! No! That was wrong. With many new parts, including new frames and smaller drives. So, they got new frames and smaller drivers. They are a different locomotive. New frame, different loco. Alright? Got that out of the way. Back to the video.
Providing yet another fantastic example of people who disagree with game journos are bad people source game journos. This type of gaslighting, again, should be entirely expected at this point. Wikipedia still has the same insane rules where they consider journalist opinion to be of greater weight than primary hard evidence. So of course the Wikipedia article on Sweet Baby Inc. is just going to be mindlessly regurgitating the...
That's wrong. Wikipedia is heavily biased, I think. I think Wikipedia does have its bias. Like, I don't use Wikipedia for facts. I use it for raw information, more or less. And history. I usually, if I do anything, I usually use it for historical stuff. Like, history is in, like, old stuff.
Primary hard evidence. So of course the Wikipedia
But usually
article
I
on
use
Sweet
it to
Baby
just
Inc.
find generalized information, and then I move out from there. That's usually how I personally go about it. Like, I don't like Wikipedia. I think Wikipedia in itself is like a journalistic outlet in the sense that a lot of the stuff on there can be argued as opinion rather than fact, especially considering the simple fact of people can edit these articles. Like, you know, we were looking at the K37 edit history. I'm sure someone saw that that post about, you know, the pizza recipe. You know, I think that was in reference to K37 Kitchen, which is something Heiss made. You know, cooking a pizza in a K37 in the in 491. I was going to say the Denver and Rio Grande Western.
Just going to be mindlessly regurgitating.
Denver and Rio Grande.
Another thing worth pointing out is that gaming companies these days have tons of diversity hires who have been heavily casualizing and dumbing down the industry. And this should really, again, surprise no one. Kind of shown how game studios
fucking
have
normies. Or something like that. I don't know how. I know how it goes. I'm just not screaming. I can scream. I can go, fucking normies. I can do that. But I just don't want to. Like, there is no one in my house. Like, this is the perfect time to do it. But, like, I don't want to do it. I had picked an opportune time to start live streaming. But It is not happening. It's like me being loud, like me screaming like that is not gonna happen as much at this hour.
Guilt tripped into hiring people.
Maybe
who don't
tomorrow.
actually
I might stream tomorrow and just stream Deep Rock and Fallout 76 or something, because that's really the most I want to do in my head, other than, you know, stuff that I don't want to do on live stream, like write. I don't like writing on stream, like writing on stream as in like writing a story. I don't like doing that personally. Like, if I could do anything though, like, oh man, now I'm just thinking about it. If I had the tools in place and everything, I would do, like, if I had a camera set up, I would 100% right now, like, consider doing, like, modeling stuff. Like, I was watching, I think it's a VTuber of some kind. I think it's Sare is their name. She's like doing stuff with it was like clips of them building I think it was miniature figures of like Warhammer or something. And I'm not a Warhammer guy, but like I'm just like thinking about that, and I'm like, what if I did that but with like model trains, you know? I'm not thinking with all cylinders, but I think with enough cylinders running, okay?
any value. But this is all just the logical result of their entryism tactics. Another thing that should surprise no one is neo-puritanism, or game developers intentionally including ugly characters in their games, and trying to shame male gamers for finding female characters who are attractive, well, attractive. Despite the fact that it's pretty easy to demonstrate that none of the journoids who do this kind of neo-puritanism behavior actually believe that—
Oh my god, Grace? Grace is on that list! Oh my god. They're not even wrong. Grace looks like so old. Like, Grace looks older than she should be. Like I wanted a strong, independent black woman who don't need no man. That was not Grace. Grace was not that. The writers at Machine Games wanted that, but they did not make that. In my opinion, I don't think they made that.
that sexuality is bad on principle, which proves that they're doing it simply because they don't like straight men.
A Wolfenstein stream would be interesting. There's a lot of stream ideas I'm having right now as I stream.
Again, not surprising at all when you remember that woke ideology has a praxis that includes envy and hatred at whatever group is deemed to be successful or on top of the progressive stack. They think that if you're a straight man, then you have it easier, and therefore they have envy and hatred towards you. And woke puritanism is just one way for them to vent that hatred, while pretending to be virtuous. Aside from the age-old Gamers Are Dead campaign that happened during Gamergate, it's just another piece of evidence that these prestige-seeking cathedralites ultimately hate their own audience. And unfortunately, I could go on and on and on like this, because there's tons of other scandals. Like, for example, the recent rumor about Wukong devs, where they are allegedly being extorted for $7 million by woke DEI consulting firms. And thus the entire reason we're seeing all these hit pieces against them is because they refuse to pay up.
Oh my god, there was something where it's like IGN mistranslated. I think one of the controversies
allegedly being extorted for $7 million by woke DEI.
I think one of the controversies in this issue, if I remember right, with Black Myth Wukong, was that they weren't just extorted. In the article that was written about them, they basically said they basically did a mistranslation, is what I understand. And instead of going, oh shoot, we made a mistake, our bad, they doubled down on the mistranslation, which is, why would you do that, you know? Like, if someone from a different language is telling you, hey, you translated this wrong, you should probably listen to them. You know?
DEI consulting firms. And thus the entire
especially if that
reason
person is the original poster themselves. You know? right.
all these.
Oh,
hit
sorry,
pieces
I was
against
just,
them is
I've
because
been,
they refuse
playing
to
with
pay
this
up.
curve.
This is a pretty typical tactic, so it's probably true. Or how about the bridge and DEI connection? Well, not a big surprise at all. There are actually tons of companies pushing DEI and ESG. In fact, here's an interesting red pill for you all. You can easily find these companies if you just act like you are a business that is looking for their guidance. If you just Google something like consultancy firms to help my business get ESG funds, you're gonna find tons and tons of these companies, all offering their wonderful guidance on how to gain an ESG integration into your business and compliance, so that you too can be a prestige-seeking cathedralite. As long as the power structures I mentioned earlier remain in place, DEI is absolutely not going anywhere. Which then just brings up the question, what exactly can gamers do then? How can we fix gaming if the reason that it's become corrupted is due to such a complex
Personal
hydra of government
boycott!
corruption, woke ideological capture, and corporate insanity? Well, the first thing gamers can do is just be aware of these authoritarian power
Yeah,
structures
awareness
and
is
stop
always
supporting
important, by the way. Like, it's important to note that, like, just being aware, like, people say, oh, you're talking about it, that must mean you hate it. It's not that, you know, people should have awareness, it's that people are being hateful, you know? It's like, what? Like, what's hateful? Like, define what is hateful here, like what's hateful about saying, hey, I don't like the trend in gaming of ugly characters. Well, you must be racist or something, or you must be you must be a gooner. It's like, no, we didn't say that. Like, no one said that, right? No one said you know, oh well, you must be a gooner. It's like, newsflash, we're humans. Everyone's a gooner. Everyone, if you are human, you probably like sex of some kind. Right? I don't know. It's like, oh my god, I hate this shit. I hate this shit where it's like, oh, if you just want sexy character, you just want to objectify women. It's like, no, I just want people who don't look like they went through a meat grinder. Or got their face smashed in by Luigi the Meat Mallet or something. I don't know. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference, but like, oh my god, I just want normal fucking characters, you know? I want someone who doesn't look like they got tossed into a blender, right? I want someone who doesn't look like they just got their fucking, they just got their eye shot, they just got part of their face shot up by a fucking enemy sniper, like Simo Hayaha did. I probably butchered the Finnish pronunciation of Mr. Hayaha's name or whatever, Mr. Simo Hayaha's name, but I'm not Finnish, so yeah.
Stop voting for people who hate you, and stop voting to give the government more power in hopes that they will stop abusing their power. Not going to happen. The DNC, for example, in the United States is very heavily involved with ESG funding, and they absolutely love to pretend like it's in support of the free market. It is all a big, gigantic grift.
Yes.
If it really was something in support of the free market, then why do they need so many regulations protecting it?
Exactly.
Why is it that
right? If the free market is fine, why is the government weighing in? Like, that's a fair point. Like, why is the government weighing in if things are fine? Why is there regulation coming if things are fine, you know? So, it is understandable. I think my dad is home? He went out to a concert later. Anyway.
Big motivator to take things as far as aggressive, frivolous,
lost my
each
place.
other. After all, the ideology is functionally not a total meltdown. If you understand how market incentives work, going to happen. The DNC corrupted is due to such a complex hydra of government corruption, woke ideological capture, and corporate insanity. Well, the first thing gamers can do is just be aware of these authoritarian power structures and stop supporting them. Stop voting for people who hate you, and stop voting to give the government more power in hopes that they will stop abusing their power. Not going to happen. The
I'm
DNC,
voting
for
so
example, in the United
hard.
States is very heavily
I'm voting so hard. I'm a voter.
involved with ESG funding, and they absolutely love to pretend like it's in support of the free market. It is all a big, gigantic grift. If it really was something in support of the free market, then why do they need so many regulations protecting it? And why is it that a big motivator for this investment scheme happens to be subsidies and more regulations? But that's honestly a more difficult political side of things.
Exactly.
An easier thing
Like,
that people...
if this was necessary, like, again, like, I think it's worth noting, yeah, if woke ideology is like actually, if like progressivism is inherently the way forward, why does it need so many laws and regulations just to keep it functioning and working and shit? It's like, I have so many questions just as an outsider, I guess. But even then, I'm not sitting here saying all the games industry has it, but at the same time, I can understand that's the perspective a lot of people have. Like, I'm not everyone, you know? I can't come to the same conclusions everyone that, you know, someone else might have. Like, you know, oh, pronouns in bio, therefore, you know, like that's not necessarily, you know. Back to the video. That's not necessarily like a tell-all be-all. Like, it's important to have. It's important to do a little. Sometimes you gotta put on a hazard suit, you know? Let's put it like that.
Just be aware of how woke ideology works and why it is flawed. I've posted several videos on my channel that explain how woke ideology is inherently self-contradictory and based on assumptions that are just demonstrably not true. The more people who understand how this ideology works,
like,
and
I wouldn't be surprised, like, if you came to me and you said, Simon, these woke people are actually like genuinely fucking racist. And I'd say, it took you this long to figure it out? No, I wouldn't say that, actually, but I would say, yeah, they are. I do think they're racist. I think they're more racist than I am, because I'm saying that right now. As we all know, if you say something on the internet, clearly you must not be that thing, right? You know, clearly if you say something on the internet, you must never be that thing. You will never... You are flawless as a person. There is no such thing as flaws or character defects. No, there's no such thing, right? Not real. Character defects, fake. You know. Character defects are fake, guys. Anyway, let's stop. I'm gonna stop joking around.
Understands how to refute it, and eventually bring us to
right,
a point
guys,
where these ideologues will have trouble spreading their ideology because they will be immediately exposed as fools when they try. Or an even easier way for gamers to rise up is just take the gatekeeper's pledge. Stop giving money to people who...
Over the course of, what, 2 hours? 3 hours? That's weird.
Seriously, this is so
I'm just rambling.
Simple. The people working for these companies absolutely despise you. It's actually not just... Yeah, glitter in the carpet type issues. Like, by the way, glitter's microplastics. Like, that is like straight up microplastics. Just if you're a straight white male. If you're a woman or if you're a minority and you don't bow down to their ideology, guess what? They hate you too. They hate everyone and anyone who isn't them. And in some cases, that's not even true. They often turn on each other. After all, the ideology is functionally nonsensical, and their inherent self-contradictions cause them to eat each other quite frequently. The point here is these people have no respect for you. If you are a gamer and you like gaming for the sake of gameplay, they hate you, and therefore you should not give them money. It really is as simple as that. And there are many ways you can do this. For instance, give Sweet Baby Inc. Detected a follow and don't buy their crappy games. As proven from Sweet Baby Inc. CEO's total meltdown on Twitter, this is a very effective way to...
Oh my god, that's the narrative designer at Sweet Baby Inc. Yeah, Chris Kindred. I hate them. I hate them so much. Like, if you ever want, like, people... Like, there is a reason why it's like the woke snowflakes or whatever, but it's like, it can go the other way around as well to right-wingers, where you got the right-wing snowflake or whatever, but, like, there is a reason why things get coined and things happen. You know, why people say some things, but it's just like, sometimes, you gotta consider how people say things. I don't know. I'm gonna get back to watching this.
to resist their
We're
propaganda.
6 minutes through.
And it's
6
fantastic
minutes
because it
left.
also tricks them into telling on themselves. The completely unhinged and entitled attitude they have when you just tell them that you're not going to buy their garbage.
Our games aren't for you straight males. So this is what they said about like Wolfenstein New Colossus. I remember it was like people, like if someone was upset about like Grace or whatever, they would probably say like, oh, you're a straight white male, who cares. Anya being sent to the front line, sent to like basically like resistance combat zones, like being sent straight into combat, straight to fight, you know, while also being pregnant. That's a concern too. Like, does all a Nazi has to do is go, mein Gott, the pregnant woman is fighting, oops. And then they do, oops, miscarriage. They just kick him over, or like just shoot him in the gut.
Completely unhinged and entitled attitude they have when you just tell them that you're not going to buy their garbage.
I don't know.
Pretty much,
Like,
just
there's
speaks
so
for
many
itself.
funny
It shows everyone who's
possibilities
paying
in
attention what kind of person
Wolfenstein
they
and
are.
shit.
And it also just further proves that mainstream gaming journalism is completely fraudulent and corrupt when they try to defend said unhinged behavior. And it's not just because of the ideology that you should avoid these games. If you understand.
Yeah, exactly. Like it feels like this in a way. It's like I play like Black Ops 3, right? I play TF2. I played Black Ops 3, TF2 over, like I once upon a time played Overwatch, and then I stopped because I didn't like Overwatch. Because Overwatch, I did not have any, not only did I not have anyone to play Overwatch with, I don't know. I don't like what they I didn't like the constant balance changes. It felt like I didn't get to play enough with the balance changes to my liking, because I never really had friends who were able to play it at the same time as I was, let alone people who wanted to play it. So it was just me scrolling through pubs or going in the arcade or something. And that was like that until I think I stopped around the time they just before I stopped playing because I wasn't really interested, and then also they added Brigitte, and I was just like, oh, that character looks cool. I like Brigitte. But anyway,
Understand how market incentives work, you might
Yeah,
realize
it
that
feels
woke
like
games
this at
are actually
times.
just a signal that a game dev is not confident in their ability to make a good game that people actually want to buy, because they feel the need to rely on these outside funds and outside ESG investments instead of real sales from real gamers. It is therefore entirely reasonable for people to avoid sweet baby in games, even if you don't really mind the woke crap, because if a game developer isn't confident that they have designed something that people will want, it's a pretty big sign that you probably don't want it. Another thing in regards to corporate games journalism is don't even give them attention. They have abused their platform to spread fraud and propaganda, and so they fully
Yeah.
deserve the negative respect from the gaming community that they're getting now. Not
I feel
zero
like that as well. I feel like I feel similar, I guess I should say. I shouldn't feel like I shouldn't say I feel like that as well, but it's just like I feel fucking annoyed because like I don't know. I'm like a person who's just like I want my games good, and the past few years I think the writing in games has been bad, and you want to make or break a game, you got to think about a game like a movie, right? You can't just throw some flashy visuals and cinematography and stuff. You know, you can't just do that, in my opinion. There's a little more to it than just flashy visuals and really good actors and music. You know, like there's a component you're missing there called writing. Good writing. Guess what you haven't done? You know, guess what the gaming industry hasn't really done a lot of? Good writing. Hey, remember Borderlands 3 where they introduced the fucking twins or whatever, the Calypso twins. I forgot their. I don't fucking care. It probably is the Calypsos. I don't fucking care because they were just so trash. All I remember is one of them was voiced by Ryuji from Persona, and I was just like, that guy does a really good job voicing characters. You know? Alright, I'm sorry, I'm just concentrating on this curve. I know I'm not talking, but, Alright, back to it.
Respect, negative respect. These publications have allowed themselves to be filled with Marxist ideologues, and thus it is entirely reasonable to assume that everything they publish is either not true or, in an absolute best-case scenario, completely milquetoast, and therefore just not even worth your time to read. Another important thing about this strategy is don't do anything violent or illegal. That's what they want you to do. They desperately want you to do extremist stuff so that they can portray us as the bad guys. And by not doing extremist stuff, we are forcing them to tell these...
I am literally just say, just don't buy the games. Like, I think, if I remember right, there was like the FBI as well, like, are investigating gamers because Sweet Baby Inc. is getting attacked. So that's a lot of going on from people. A lot of Alright, let's keep watching.
Insane lies, where they have to bend over backwards and commit multiple logical fallacies to comport themselves into this ridiculous pretzel where they're basically saying that us refusing to buy their games is somehow harassing them, which is an obviously stupid narrative, and the longer we force them to stick with that insane propaganda, the easier it will be for more normies to see that we are in the right. And our strategy towards journalists who lack any kind of ethics should just be total...
I don't know why the UI element disappeared on me, but I'm not complaining. I should probably not be full regulator. Alright. I'm not going to be able to make the climb right now. I need more pressure. I'm just checking if there's any trees. No.
Right. Which means that we just dismiss everything that they say. Journoids from platforms like Kotaku, The Verge, Polygon, Wired, etc. have a proven track record of lying and pushing political propaganda. Thus, they have destroyed their credibility, and we should just dismiss everything they say as fraudulent and untrue until proven otherwise. Also, just realize that the boycott strategy is a lot more effective than most people realize. If game companies and journal publications that have given in to the ideological capture consistently fail to generate revenue, it takes away their ability to fund the regime further, and thus makes it easier for those power structures that I've mentioned that they rely on to be dismantled. The Gatekeeper's Pledge may seem silly, and some of the points on this image are a little bit silly, but
right.
The reality is, the only thing stopping it from working is just not enough to rely on to be dismantled. The Gatekeeper's Pledge may seem silly.
I like Sombra's design. I liked Sombra's design. Yeah, I feel like there's an emasculation of a male character. Like, in some cases, like, there are really good male characters, but there is emasculation in the same respect. I think that's a real image, by the way, on the right. I think this is a real image. Hold on. Yep. Yep, it's real. Okay. We're out. I just wanted to check that. I just wanted to check
on
that.
This image are a little bit silly, but the reality is the only thing stopping it from working is just not enough people doing it. ESG and corporate backing does in fact have a limit. Also, consider redirecting that money and attention to the few game companies and independent news sites that actually go against the woke regime, such as The Great Rebellion, whose developers I recently worked with, or outlets like Geeks and Gamers that actively stand against the prestige-seeking behavior. Or in other words, do not be afraid to support alternative institutions, and do not feel bad practicing physical removal against communist psychopaths. These people do not deserve your time, and they do not deserve your money.
I might
again
watch
have
some more
nothing but
videos of
disrespect for you.
Mentis's,
And if
but
you happen to be a business owner, you
this is
should avoid
interesting.
allowing them to work for you under any circumstances.
Yeah.
Being an imagine if the roles were reversed cuck is bad.
No, imagine if the roles were reversed. Hey, look, institutional power.
Do not be an imagine if the roles were reversed cuck.
These people, in thereby posing an open threat to all private property and property owners, must not only be shunned, but they must, to use the by now somewhat famous Hoppe meme, be physically removed.
Marxist ideologues will always try to destroy your organization from within, and trying to use principles against them doesn't work because they do not actually have any principles. And finally, if you haven't already, consider giving the articles on deepfreeze.it a read. While the information may seem dated, a lot of it is still relevant today. Mainly it serves as a relatively good repository of evidence that Gamergate was, indeed, all along, about ethics in games journalism. And everybody telling you otherwise is either misinformed or fell for the propaganda. Freeze.it agrees. Finally, if you haven't already, consider giving the articles on deepfreeze.it a read. While the information may seem dated, a lot of it is still relevant today. Mainly it serves as a relatively good repository of evidence that...
I agree. Trust needs to be earned. Like, I think journalists can gain and lose trust, and outlets can gain and lose trust. And the problem is, they gain and lose trust both with the people, and then there's gain and lose trust with the government. Right?
Gamergate was, indeed, all along, about ethics in games journalism. And everybody telling you otherwise is either misinformed or fell for the propaganda. Or is just a prestige-seeking cathedral-like grifter who is lying to you.
Hey, look, it's Sean. That's it. I don't know.
And that's
I'm
why
just funny.
Gamergate today honestly just kind of...
One time I saw Sean post like a fucking Thomas with it was like something pro BR, pro nationalization of the British rail network again. Something I don't like just because I'm not I'm American, and of course I gotta not like things or something. I don't know. I'm not someone, then again, I'm not someone who retweets Big Joel. You know? That's not what I do. Who's Big Joel, you may ask? I don't know, I'm not a leftist. He's like, I just think Big Joel and I think Tim Pool for leftists, not conservatives. Tim Pool for conservatives? That's just Tim Pool. And even then the conservatives hate that guy, right? Like, there's conservatives who do not like Tim because he's like a lefty and he's milquetoast or whatever. I don't know. I haven't watched him in a while. So. Just because I haven't really cared to.
still stands as a basic test of media and ideological literacy. And the general points that are made on deepfreeze.it are just as true for Gamergate 2 or the Sweet Baby Inc. scandal as they were for Gamergate. But the most important thing I really want people to walk away from this video understanding is that these scandals are all part of a much, much bigger problem. It is not just in gaming, and it is not solely the responsibility of Sweet Baby Inc. Getting rid of Sweet Baby Inc. would honestly not fix a darn thing. As long as those authoritarian power structures remain in place, some other band of prestige-seeking cathedral-like grifters would just rush in to take their place.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta.
Anyways, that is...
You gotta like socially you gotta like socially gotcha them. We need like the social gotcha. Again, like there needs to be like a social, like, gotcha. Like, up. We gotcha. Up. You said the truth. And we need to like blast them for that. We need to like call everyone out. Like, up. And it, like you can be like, oh, you're just being mean because you hate, you know, black people or something. It's like, first off, no, like I find it funny when people say that. It's just like, I actually grew up in like a very, very much more, probably a more diverse environment than a lot of these journalists. Like the area I was in my state was like the most diverse compared to like all the surrounding areas. Like you would go to one area, there's a lot of Indians, another area there's a lot of Asians, and not a lot of white people in one, you know, a lot of black people in another, you know, that sort of deal. It's you get it. But what was interesting about the school I went to, I guess, the school I went to was different because it was a public school, so therefore, like, you know, that type of shit. But no, like really, like the idea is that what I'm trying to say is that, God, I'm stumbling over my words this entire thing. Call me Joe Biden. But yeah, like the idea is that essentially, God, I forgot what I was even talking about.
Remain in place, some other band of prestige-seeking cathedral.
Oh yeah, prestige-seeking cathedral. Yeah, basically it's just like, you don't, like, it's more about social ostracization and historical precedence or historical notability that can really like make or break an entire ideology. Like, imagine the, like, I think we, this is gonna sound stupid, right? But I think Alt History Hub was correct in saying that if Trotsky did have power and it wasn't Stalin, I think we would be in a World War II with communism. Like, it would be World War II just with communism. Like, imagine the enemies aren't the Nazis, but the Soviets, because the Nazis got taken out by the Soviets. As they should. Just like in real life, except it happens earlier. And probably with a lot more deaths, knowing communism, but whatever. Go invade the snow. Go invade some snow, Russia. Go ahead.
Cathedral-like grifters would just rush in to take their place. Anyways, that is all. Thanks for watching, and thanks for everyone's patience as it took me slightly longer to get this video out than I was aiming for. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe.
Pausing this whole thing and reacting
to it. Ko-Fi or Subscribe Star. Or, again, I am holding a merch store sale in order to help fund the time I spent on this one. And again, there are mugs now. So the merch store is not just shirts anymore. But yeah, that is all. Till next time.
Alright, I think this is, I'm gonna bring this all to the Iron Mine, and then I'm gonna end it off. Hold on. Brave browser, turn that element off. Tomorrow I might stream something like Deep Rock Galactic or something. This is just more or less a test stream, see things, get a feel of it. You know, I'm still, like I said, I'm new to live streaming, so I'm not really good at anything. I just like yapping. I like talking. Can't believe the human likes their own voice. What a shame. You know, what an ego. Can't believe someone has an ego. Newsflash, everyone's got an ego. It came free with your fucking humanity. I'm smiling. I'm just having a good time. But something interesting, I guess. I might start before the stream ends. I'm gonna show Crooked Track Railroad and how bad the performance is there. No. Because Crooked Track Railroad has this is my main save, the first save I created. In fact, so I'll just show that off, and maybe I could do like a stream or something of playing on this and showcasing and touring it all, like every nook and cranny, or whatever. But right now I'm just vibing. 1, 2, 3. Yep. All good with me. 4, 2. 244. There we go. Yep, that should be. Yep. I thought I was like thinking, oh, it's gonna be 2. No, that's right. It's not the gold mine. The gold mine sucks. I hate the gold mine. I wish the gold mine produced more gold. I know it's supposed to be like that, but it's just like, man, it's slow. Like, you bring so much product to it for nothing, you know? Alright, let me turn on quick sensor image, so no one can see that. Alright. I'm gonna edit the title because I don't really want to watch multiple videos, but I did watch this one. Alright, we are still loading. Like, if, like, I think if the developers asked me to send this save, I would. Just so they can go, what the hell did you do? Like, this save is unsalvageable. What the fuck did you do? You know? I just wanna let you know right now, I am sitting at roughly 20 FPS. For the layman viewer who cannot tell, this is 20 FPS. Turn off blur, because I do not like blur, actually. I turn off blur normally. Yeah, this is running at like 20 FPS right now. 20 to 30-ish. But yeah, you can see this is what it looks like. This is, you know, just a little taste. Let me give a quick flyby, show a little preview. This is, you know, why does my world lag, guys? Why does my world lag? Why? I wonder, guys. I wonder. I wonder. Like, like, I have so many cars on this world. There's so many railroad cars. It is, like, I imagine a developer would probably scream when they see how many railroad cars. Like, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, no, I've seen that before, or oh, I've seen that before. But this is my favorite one. This one is Joe, right? That's Joe. Not to be confused with another guy. And here's here's Slug. And here's Bunker Hill. And these two are characters of mine. I don't think they're gonna have that same number, but they're gonna be the same name. Bunker Hill is a Mason Bogey of very similar design. I don't know if I'll give it this Spark Arrestor or the Mason, the South Park and Pacific's Diamond Stack, but it's a character for my Train with Face series, Ammo County Railroad. I just haven't written about this character because they're not really talked about in the dozen stories. They're not important for a dozen stories in terms of the actual series, but in terms of lore, they exist. They have a brother. They worked on this railroad, neighboring another one that was neighboring a standard gauge line. And that standard gauge line eventually also was connected up to Ammo County after the Ammo County Railroad closed. I'm not gonna ramble. It's lore. Don't want to spoil too much, but because it's all in my head, and it keeps being bounced around, so it's not everything's correct. But Bunker Hill was sold directly from the Mason Machine Works to this place, Dalton and Spruce. They were sold directly to the Dalton and Spruce, and they were sold alongside a brother named Mason. And Mason, what was notable about Mason, Mason's the working name for this character, is the difference between those two is Mason's dead. Like, Mason dies, and he's a ghost or something, I don't know. Because the idea is that Mason... Because the Mason Bogies had this issue where they would hunt, and hunting is basically where you like get that like side to side motion of a train where they're going deek dook deek dook deek dook, where they're going back forth back forth back forth. It's like when like a duck waddles. Except on trains, on locomotives, it can range from being not very noticeable to being like immediately noticeable. Like, there are times where you can tell that a locomotive is going to tilt and putting all of its power in and going doong, and it's like it swings a little bit left and doong, and it swings a little bit right, you know. And those dungs are supposed to represent the puffs, like woof, 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 the exhaust beat. But Mason and Bunker Hill, the idea is that both of them went to test run on the Boston Revere Beach and Lynn, and they were successful. The idea is that they ran like a test passenger train or two, and they were, really good. They were performing good. And the problem is that unlike Mason, Bunker Hill is a lot more stable. Whereas Mason, he was more prone to the hunting on track. And they didn't really catch that at BRB&L, Boston Revere Beach and Lynn, but they caught that definitely on the Dalton and Spruce. So that's just the idea I'm going for, more or less. But I just thought I would ramble. And last character is Slug. Slug is an A-frame Shay, very similar to this. I don't know if it's going to be if she'll be an A15, because Slug is a she. And I based her off of Roz, more or less. Like, the idea is that she sounds a lot like Roz from Monsters, Inc. I'm watching you, Wazowski, the secretary. The secretary of Monsters, Inc. That also worked for, like, multiple things. Because, of course... Also, can I just say, this is like a personal pet peeve of mine, like this entire collision just not being here. Like the collision simply being mirrored and not actually like mirroring proper collision to show, oh, this is a running board. You know, oh, this is just mirrored. Like, you could make it so that, you know, you can't walk into the pistons, right? You know, collision. But, like, this is very annoying. This is a personal pet peeve. Like, if I'm running along the Shay here, and I hate that. Like, that little slide, slow, bump, bump. Bump, bump. Like, that can be very annoying. You know? That's what I'm trying to say. But Slug, you know, she was a switcher. Or she was like a, maybe, I think she would be like a logging engine on the Dalton and Spruce. Like, she would obviously be like a lot, like, she was owned by maybe a logging company. She was probably bought by the railroad to haul logs or something, or maybe haul the log cars up, or I don't know. Like, maybe Slug was purchased as the switcher? I don't know. But the point is, Slug initially would have been taking trains of, you know, logs. Like, she was a logging engine. But eventually Slug did not do logging anymore. She got moved over to freight. Like, I think she would handle empties, bringing empties up to... She would basically... The idea is that the logs come down the hill, go downhill to the standard gauge interchange, and then they would be brought out anywhere they needed, but Slug would basically be assigned to bring the flat cars, the empty flat cars, back up to the logging camp to, you know, get more logs, get more wood for the main. You know, that would be the idea, at least in my head. So, yeah, thank you to everyone for watching. I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you to the 17 people who showed up and left. Thank you for sticking around for however long you did, the few seconds or whatever. Yeah, you can watch the VOD. I'm gonna leave it up. John Railroadson, yeah. This is a certified John Railroadson moment, I think. I wish I could turn off the crosshair. I wish when you turn off the UI, you turn off the crosshair or something, or if there was like a button to turn it off. I don't remember. But yeah, like, maybe I'll do some more streaming. Maybe I won't. Don't expect anything. Maybe next time I'll play, yeah, tomorrow I'm thinking I'll play Deep Rock Galactic and Fallout 76, because I know both those games I usually do daily stuff. I know Fallout 76 I usually do daily stuff in. That might be an interesting stream. I've wanted to stream a new character for a while, but let me show the shed here. Yeah. I don't really care about these locomotives because there's not enough customization that makes me happy. I don't know. Like, it's not like the customization isn't there in this game. It's just, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. I need to shut up and stop streaming so that I can finally say words that I can't say on streams. Mostly in conjunction, mostly words that are inoffensive on their own, but said in a certain form can be interpreted as other words. Just like the English language, you know. Anyway, bye-bye. I'm probably going to play more train games eventually. I like train games. Train games are my thing.